Previously in chapters 1701 to 1720, Wang Lin disrupts the seven-colored Taoist plan to locate the third soul, then discovers an ancient altar where he witnesses the overwhelming aura of a grand empyrean. He advances to 8 stars across all 3 ancient lineages, God, Demon, Devil, merges with Yimo's right arm, and masters the 3-life spell to gain 3 lives. After forming his 7th essence, Restriction, Wang Lin confronts the All-Seer. He exposes the reincarnation integration plot and seizes the initiative, using his unique ancient Tao bloodline to force the All-Seer's original body out of hiding. The storm formed by the ancient Tao bloodline dissipated. Aside from the rock under Wang Lin, all the other rocks disappeared. After the storm dissipated, everything was quiet. Wang Lin looked toward the east. He felt the All-Seer's aura again in that direction. An illusion seemed to overlap with his body. The illusion slowly separated and his original body walked out. The moment his original body walked out, his avatar's right hand reached toward the void. The ghostly sail appeared and suddenly expanded. It shrouded this area in an illusion. Inside the illusion, Wang Lin looked at his avatar, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. The 3-life spell is certainly not something that can be copied. If I destroy my avatar or die once using the 3-life spell, then all of the All-Seer's plans would collapse. However, the price for this is great and somewhat not worth it. All-Seer, since you want to play, I'll play with you. Let's see who the real winner is. Wang Lin murmured. His avatar raised his right hand and pointed to the spot between the eyebrows of his original body. A howling sound echoed across the star system, and the eyes of Wang Lin's avatar revealed a strange light. His fingertips seemed to land on the original body's soul. In an instant, the ghostly sail suddenly began to move and turned into a giant cloud that shrank toward Wang Lin. From afar, this scene looked quite amazing. As the large cloud condensed, most of it gathered between Wang Lin's eyebrows on his original body, and some split off to cover his avatar. Wang Lin's avatar's face turned slightly pale, and he withdrew his finger from his original body. He turned around and bowed toward the stars. Senior Blue Dream, Senior Qing Lin, and Senior Hong Shang. My original body is here. I hope you seniors can help protect it. The moment Wang Lin spoke, there was a flash of blue light and Tao Master Blue Dream walked out. Behind him, Qing Lin and Master Hong Shan silently followed. The 3 of them had been here all along and had witnessed the confrontations between Wang Lin and the All-Seer. Tao Master Blue Dream sat down before Wang Lin's original body. He looked at Wang Lin's avatar and slowly said, "With me here you can rest assured. If you can find his original body, then no matter how powerful his original body is, he can't escape." Wang Lin nodded and clasped his hands at the 3 of them. He stepped forward toward the east. That was where the All-Seer's aura was. As he moved forward, that drop of water and that handful of soil appeared in his hand. He put the 2 essences away. The original body will be looking for the All-Seer's original body. I should make some preparations here too. Once the All-Seer gets anxious, he will likely summon all his avatars at once so he can take over before I find his original body. I hope he does this. Wang Lin pondered as he flew through the stars. His right hand formed a seal and pressed it against his chest. At this moment, a change happened to Wang Lin's soul. In the past, his soul became a soul devourer, meaning it could devour everything, including itself. The avatar's soul was where all his essences were gathered, and even his origin soul had a great connection to this soul. Once the soul died, everything would disappear. My original body has all my memories. Since I can comprehend my essences, I can regain them even if I lose them. After all, essences come from comprehension, and that comprehension exists in the soul of my original body. All-Seer, you've lost this game. The seal Wang Lin had made with his right hand disappeared into his chest. He no longer hesitated and his mind completely fused with the All-Seer's avatar's soul, which was getting stronger. He flew toward the east. In the eastern part of the summoned river, among the endless stars, the All-Seer appeared. He no longer had that strange smile and his expression was not calm. Right now it was as gloomy as water. He looked into the distance and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Wang Lin, if you want to kill my original body, you need to find it first. Even I have forgotten where my original body is, so how can you find it? I don't believe you can find it, but this Wang Lin is good at scheming, and what he said before doesn't seem to be false. He was able to come so far from the little cultivator he was before, so he must have some extraordinary methods. I have to guard against it. Forget it, I can't waste any more time with him, I must finish my plan. Even if there are some flaws, it doesn't matter. Once it's complete, I'll fall asleep and wait for the 99th awakening. At that time, I'll achieve what I want. Wang Lin, your cultivation level is high enough for my slumber to complete in an instant and achieve the 99th awakening. The All-Seer's eyes revealed a cold light and he raised his hands. He closed his eyes, and the moment they closed, hundreds of All-Seers appeared all over the summoned river. The moment the All-Seers appeared, they all looked toward one direction, where the moving Wang Lin was. At this moment in the brilliant void, as the ripples echoed between the stars, All-Seers began to appear. The moment they appeared, they all looked toward the summoned river. At the same time, ripples echoed in all heaven and the cloud sea. All the avatars across the 4 star systems added up to 3,000. These were the All-Seer's 3,000 avatars, and all the bodies he had obtained from his constant devouring during his 98 awakenings. The moment the 3,000 avatars appeared across the 4 star systems, Wang Lin suddenly stopped and his eyes shined. He fell for the trap. The avatar soul inside Wang Lin seemed to boil and awaken and slowly spread across Wang Lin's body. It was calling the 3,000 other parts, and at this moment, it was as if Wang Lin had truly become one of the All-Seer's avatars. In Wang Lin's mind, he could clearly feel every single one of the 3,000 avatars. He could clearly feel their locations and auras. They all belonged to the All-Seer. Originally, Wang Lin couldn't and oppose find the All-Seer's original body, but he was a cunning person and had dared to scheme against the All-Seer. Since the All-Seer had dared to scheme against him, then he also dared to scheme against the All-Seer. Those words from before seemed ordinary, but each word contained a hidden meaning. Wang Lin's words had forced the All-Seer to change his plan. He feared Wang Lin and wanted to take over Wang Lin's body as quickly as possible, so he had summoned his 3,000 avatars to make Wang Lin fail as soon as possible. But the All-Seer didn't expect that Wang Lin had no confidence in finding the All-Seer's original body, but now Wang Lin did. The All-Seer had given him this confidence. It was the All-Seer's 3,000 avatars that gave him this confidence. Wang Lin could lock on to every single avatar. He could use their auras to help look for the original body. This was like searching for a route. It may be difficult to search while blind, but now that the All-Seer had revealed all 3,000 avatars, all the roads had appeared before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly, looking like the bright moon. He revealed a smile as his hands formed a seal and pointed to between his eyebrows. With these 3,000 souls as guides, with the dream Tao as the path, borrow the illusion of the ghostly sail to dream of the 3,000 avatars and enter reincarnation. Search for the All-Seer's original body. The moment Wang Lin pointed to the spot between his eyebrows, his own original body, which was deep in the summoned river, being guarded by Tao Master Blue Dream, Qing Lin and Master Hong Shan, opened his eyes. I know the path to find his original body. His eyes revealed a strange light, and this light covered his body. Wang Lin's original body's mind trembled. Borrowing the 3,000 souls, he had used the dream Tao to open the path back into the past. Wang Lin's vision became blurry. Time seemed to reverse, following the All-Seer's 3,000 souls. He seemed to enter a dream illusion. This was an illusion created using Wang Lin's dream Tao with the help of the ghostly sail, and using the All-Seer's 3,000 souls as a guide. This allowed Wang Lin to immerse himself in the world of the 3,000 souls, so that he could see their awakenings and find the All-Seer's original body. This was the method Wang Lin had thought of to retaliate against the All-Seer. At this moment in Wang Lin's mind, he was in a fuzzy world, but soon the fuzziness disappeared and everything before him became clear. What he saw was the stars. He was familiar with this star system, it was the Summon River. He saw a meteor, and inside the meteor was the All-Seer. On the other side sat an old man who was in a coma. That old man was Ling Tianhou. The all-seer had a painful expression. There was still blood residue on his hands. If Wang Lin's speculation wasn't wrong, this was the heavenly Dao blood that had been changed by the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. The painful expression on the all-seer's face became even more intense, and after an unknown amount of time, he let out a roar. His eyes opened and shadows rapidly flashed across his face. These shadows were his avatars. He looked at Ling Tianhou and suddenly opened his mouth. His mouth expanded endlessly and devoured Ling Tianhou. After he devoured Ling Tianhou, the all-seer's eyes were filled with confusion. Then he slowly closed his eyes. Time seemed to flow endlessly. One day, after several hundred years, the all-seer opened his eyes, which were now filled with confusion. I'm awake again. The power for the next slumber and awakening has already been prepared. He is Wang Lin. Although everything Wang Lin saw seemed to have taken a long time, it was just an instant. He devoured Ling Tianhou. Why did he say he was awake again? How many times has the all-seer awakened? Everything before Wang Lin disappeared after the all-seer awakened, but soon a new image appeared. The image that appeared this time was a cultivation planet. Wang Lin was familiar with this planet. It was planet Tianyun. The all-seer was sitting inside a secret room hidden in the Tianyun sect. Before him sat 9 youths who were all unconscious. The all-seer's eyes revealed a strange light as he looked at the 9 of them. He opened his mouth and inhaled. The 9 youths were devoured by him. His body trembled and his expression revealed pain. He slowly closed his eyes and fell into slumber. Years passed. After an unknown amount of time, the all-seer opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with clarity. This is my 97th awakening. The next candidate for my sleep and awakening is Ling Tianhou. Wang Lin looked at all of this with a calm expression, but a wave was set off in his heart. He didn't expect these awakenings to be a result of the all-seer devouring others. He should be one of 7 colored celestial sovereigns, 3 souls or 7 fragments. Only this can explain how he's awakening again and again. Wang Lin looked at the all-seer. His gaze became cold. The image changed once more, showing the all-seer at different times. Until one time he saw the all-seer sitting above an abandoned planet. After devouring a cultivator he had selected, he awakened once more. He was leaving the planet, and as he flew he suddenly stopped. He looked down and saw an earthy, yellow, half-abandoned cultivation planet. He softly exclaimed and gradually revealed a smile. He slowly sent out his divine sense. It's rare to see such profound comprehension on a half-abandoned planet like this. However, with your mere nascent soul cultivation, you shouldn't be too greedy with your soul formation comprehension. If you continue to pursue this, I fear you still won't find the source even after millions of years. By then, your body will have completely decayed. Have you considered that? As the all-seer spoke, he raised his right hand and pushed down on the half-abandoned planet. This old man's name is all-seer. Today I'll give you my goodwill. If you can leave this abandoned planet and come to find me on planet Tianyun, I'll accept you as a named disciple for 100 years. The smile on the all-seer's face became even wider. He waved his sleeve and walked into the distance. That child is not bad. I can raise him a bit to be devoured by my avatar. However, his cultivation level is too low, so it's difficult to say if he could be useful or not. However, I have a feeling this child will be extraordinary. When Wang Lin saw this, his mind trembled violently. He stared at the earthy yellow planet and it was as if his mind was bombarded. The aura coming from the planet made Wang Lin understand everything. As Wang Lin's original body was immersed in the all-seer reincarnation in the outside world, all of the all-seer avatars raised their right hands and pointed to the spot between their eyebrows. The eyes of the first all-seer that appeared in the eastern part of the summoned river revealed a strange light. He also raised his right hand and pointed to between his eyebrows. This old man will sleep for the last time and awaken for the last time. This time, I'll finish the plan I started countless years ago. He closed his eyes and his finger slowly penetrated his skull. At this instant, the all-seer's body suddenly collapsed and thunderous rumbles echoed across the 4 star systems. All 3,000 all-seers collapsed and a soul flew out of each one. Every single soul made its way toward Wang Lin's avatar. Let's see if you're faster or if I'm faster. When this old man was scheming against you, you were merely a nascent soul cultivator. If not for this old man, your body would have decayed. Your everything is mine. The 3,000 souls charged forward, sending out waves of soul force that fused together. This formed a heaven-shattering sound that echoed in the mind of Wang Lin's avatar. As the 3,000 souls charged at Wang Lin's avatar, his original body saw even more awakenings from the All-Seer's reincarnation. The person Wang Lin was looking at had become completely different from the All-Seer, as if it was someone else. If not for the aura Wang Lin had locked onto, he wouldn't believe all these random people were the All-Seer. In the ancient cultivation world, before the 4 celestial realms collapsed, there was a middle-aged man in blue floating above a planet. With a smile, he devoured an unconscious young man before him. This young man was his only disciple. This is my 34th awakening. Also in the ancient cultivation world, among the scattered fragments, there was a charming woman floating there. She smiled and devoured an unconscious man beside her. This man's cultivation level was high, and he was filled with celestial energy, and was obviously someone from the 4 celestial realms. The repeated devours, sometimes many and sometimes just one, were all seen by Wang Lin. What he saw startled him. What is the All-Seer's identity to rely on devouring to awaken? And what he is awakening? Outside, in the summoned river, the hundreds of All-Seer avatars closed in on Wang Lin and entered his avatar. Wang Lin's avatar's expression was calm as he sat there as if he didn't care about them entering. The All-Seer's avatar's soul grew stronger and stronger until it occupied almost all of Wang Lin's body. At this moment, the souls from the other 3 star systems quickly arrived. This all happened very quickly, but from Wang Lin's original body's point of view, all of this was very slow. Wang Lin's original body saw the All-Seer's awakenings again and again, until the 3rd awakening. This was no longer in the ancient cultivation times but in the immemorial cultivation times. The star system during the immemorial times was filled with planets. These were cultivators and not celestials because there were no celestial realms. They cultivated the aura of the world. An old man wearing a beast's skin was lying on the ground, surrounded by wood and fire. He had already died and his body was being burnt by his clan. There were hundreds of people dressed in similar clothing. They all knelt there while chanting softly. However, just at this moment, the old man that should have died opened his eyes. There was a hint of confusion in his eyes before it was replaced with indifference. He slowly sat up to the surprise and shock of the surrounding people. The old man revealed a strange smile before he suddenly opened his mouth and inhaled. With this, the hundreds of people were devoured along with the fire. The entire planet began to tremble and collapse. A giant mouth appeared and devoured the planet in an unimaginable way. This is my 3rd awakening. I remember that during my 2nd awakening, I devoured the 7-colored celestial sovereign's 7th fragment. In the sky, the old man inside the illusion licked his lips and smiled. When Wang Lin saw this, his already calmed heart roared once more when he heard what the old man said. He devoured the 7-colored celestial sovereign's 7th fragment. If he is not one of the 3 souls or 7 fragments, then who is he? He was able to devour 7-colored celestial sovereign soul fragment. After personally seeing more than 90 reincarnations, Wang Lin found that the All-Seer's ability to devour seemed to be weakening with each devour. On the 3rd time, the All-Seer could devour a planet, but after 90 times, he could only devour people. Wang Lin stared at the smiling old man and his pupils shrank. The image disappeared, and when they reappeared, it was the All-Seer's 2nd awakening. This time what appeared before Wang Lin was a foreign star system. Not only was this star system foreign, but there were no signs of life. There were countless cultivation planets around, but there was not a single trace of life. This was a dead star system, or rather it was the earliest phase of the cave world before life was born. In this lifeless star system, Wang Lin gradually formed an unimaginable thought. This thought was the All-Seer's true identity. Just as this thought appeared in his head, a weak soul aura quickly closed in. Wang Lin turned around and saw an illusion inside that aura. The figure was blurry and contained the power of one of 7-colored soul fragments. The moment the soul fragment appeared, a giant rift appeared and devoured it. After devouring the soul, The rift closed and a young man slowly appeared. The young man's body gave off a ghostly light. At first, there was confusion in his eyes, but soon they became clear. The 7-colored celestial sovereign's 7th soul fragment. It was delicious. I helped him a lot, but now that he is dead, no one can control me. Unfortunately, his 3 souls are too powerful, and after being separated from my body, I wouldn't dare to devour them. However, by borrowing the power of this soul, I can let myself grow. Similarly, perhaps after many, many years, I can use this to recreate the complete 7-colored celestial sovereign. At that time I'll be 7-colored, but most importantly my growth. The young man's expression never changed. He raised his right hand to move his mouth to make it look like he was smiling. I must first learn how to become a cultivator. I'm going to make it so no one, including the 7-colored's 3 souls and 7 fragments, can recognize who I am. I'm going to regain control of reincarnation. Wang Lin looked at the youth and revealed great shock. He knew who this person was. He is Heavenly Tao. Wang Lin's mind went blank. What he found inside the All-Seer's reincarnation cycle was difficult to believe. The Heavenly Tao everyone had been searching for was actually the All-Seer. Looking at the young man that had adjusted his own face with his hand, Wang Lin found it difficult to settle down the waves that had been set off in his heart. He was like the lonely boat in the raging sea that was constantly surging. Under his gaze, the young man maintained his smile and disappeared into the distance. The star system gradually disappeared and collapsed before Wang Lin, but Wang Lin was still in shock. Outside, in the summoned river, Wang Lin's avatar's face was pale. Veins would appear and disappear all over his face. Countless of the All-Seer's avatar souls were entering Wang Lin's avatar one by one, trying to take it over. As those souls fused, the All-Seer's gloomy voice echoed inside the mind of Wang Lin's avatar. How can you compete with this old man? This old man can take over your body now. Has your original body found this old man's original body? More than 1,000 All-Seer souls from the summoned river and brilliant void had already fused with Wang Lin's avatar. The ones from the cloud sea and all heaven were closing in. When the image of the All-Seer's second awakening collapsed, Wang Lin saw the scene of the All-Seer's first awakening. The star system went blurry and then collapsed. Eventually everything disappeared. Then a huge door appeared before Wang Lin. This door was so large that it gave Wang Lin the illusion he was an ant. It was different from the door that appeared inside the heaven-defying bead. This door didn't give off the majestic aura, and it seemed to have integrated with the world. Wang Lin didn't know what was behind the door, but he heard thunderous rumbles come from the other side. It was as if the door had been hit by an incredible force from outside. The door suddenly trembled. As it trembled, Wang Lin saw a crack appear on it, and cracking sounds echoed as the crack spread. It continued to spread as if it was going to split the door in half. The thunderous rumbles became even more intense. In just a moment, the door split apart into several pieces and scattered. This door was so big that even after it cracked, it didn't shatter into dust. It split into several parts and flew off in all directions due to the impact. The parts were too fast and disappeared without a trace. One part of the door was pushed far away into a part of space that would become the brilliant void. This fragment shattered into more and tore apart space itself. The fragments sank into the spatial rifts. The large amount of door fragments fused with the void, causing space itself to become unstable and creating a spatial rift. The fragments from the door existed here, unchanged for countless years. After many years, a group from the Four Divine sect came after using some unknown method and looked for a cultivation planet. They covered up the instability here and covered up that spatial rift. They connected that spatial rift with the planet. That group of cultivators eventually left. The spatial rift would occasionally appear here as time passed. This was found by some of the talented cultivators on the planet, and they borrowed it. It eventually became the foreign battleground. The moment the giant door split, Wang Lin saw a ball of fog smash through the collapsed door. Inside the fog, Wang Lin sat the figure of a person for an instant. He couldn't see that person's appearance, but he could hear the thunderous roar they let out. Heavenly Tao! You actually obtained a Heavenly Tao! Damn it, this king doesn't approve. The roar turned into a hiss at the end. A terrifying rumble came from the fog. As the rumble echoed, the endless fog began to move. A powerful force seemed to be tearing the fog, causing it to be split apart. This fog was split into two clusters, one big and one small. The big cluster of fog held the figure whose roars had turned weak. It flew off into the unknown. The smaller cluster flew toward the opposite direction. The smaller cluster continued to move, shrinking as it flew away. Wang Lin could faintly see that the fog wasn't empty but contained a half-circular fragment. This half-circular fragment was blurry, but it was clear it was the core of this small cluster of fog. As it flew, the cloud of fog became smaller and smaller until it disappeared completely. It had fully condensed into the half-circular fragment, and it flew until it landed on a cultivation planet. There was no life on that planet, only a low mountain. The fragment smashed down like a meteor and landed on the mountain. The mountain collapsed and the fragment penetrated deep into the heart of the planet before stopping. Wang Lin witnessed all of this. He stared at the half-circular fragment inside the planet. There was still ancient text engraved on it. It looked like half a compass. Or to be more accurate, it was half of a certain compass. Time passed. After an unknown amount of years, there was still no life on this planet. However, the fog that condensed into the compass gradually appeared. This fog came out in strands and gathered together to form a blurry figure. This figure slowly became more clear until a young man appeared. This young man had his eyes closed and floated above the half-compass. After a long time, he opened his eyes, and they were filled with confusion. I gained a spirit. I remember being summoned by Master and devouring that celestial. That celestial blew up to stop my devouring. Then I was split up. Who am I? The young man closed his eyes, seeming to be pondering. A moment later, he suddenly opened his eyes, and his eyes revealed a strange light. I'm the heavenly Tao. I should not have a spirit, but when that celestial blew up, I absorbed some of his divine sense. I gained intelligence. The young man murmured as if he understood everything. When Wang Lin saw this, he understood a lot. He understood why Lian Daofei had become a madman, why the Lian Daofei he saw in the dream of the seven-colored Taoist was so arrogant and unreasonable. He was like a different person compared to the madman that Wang Lin knew. Right now, Wang Lin's mind became clear. Lian Daofei is indeed someone who did as he wished on the immortal astral continent. Maybe he really did have a brother with very high status. This all caused his personality to become strange and arrogant. According to my understanding, as long as he fancied something, whether it was treasure or people, he would steal it without hesitation. If he can't steal it, then he will do this best and even kill the other party's entire sect to satisfy his greed. It was also his greed and personality that lured him into the cave of the seven-colored celestial sovereign to steal what he wanted. But in the end, he was devoured by the heavenly Tao and exploded his divine sense. Most of his greed and bad personality were absorbed by this part of the heavenly Tao. That's why the madman I met is completely different than before. Otherwise, with his personality, how could he give me the celestial bloodline and teach me spells? He would have done everything he could to achieve his goal. By contrast, I like the current madman more. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked at the young man floating above the half-compass. The young man looked at the compass and pondered. This half of the defying compass is my original body. This aura is something no one can detect. Leaving it here would be the safest option. The young man drifted away and disappeared from the inside of the planet to somewhere unknown. Wang Lin ignored the young man's departure and stared at the half-compass. He memorized everything here in the aura of this planet. Then he suddenly closed his eyes. The moment he closed his eyes, everything here silently collapsed. The All-Seer's more than 90 reincarnations ended. When Wang Lin closed his eyes, his dream ended. He opened his eyes and saw Tao Master Blue Dream, Qing Lin, and Master Hong Xian. He saw that this avatar was about to be completely taken over in the summoned river. I found his original body. You three seniors don't need to come with me. I hope you three can help me control my avatar to buy me more time. Wang Lin stood up and clasped his hands at the three of them. He then took a step forward and charged off into the distance. All-Seer, the game is about to end. Wang Lin's original body rushed through the stars, moving at a speed much faster than his avatar. He wasn't flying using brute force or integrating with the world, he was ripping the world apart to move forward. Wang Lin's right hand would rip the space before him as he stepped forward. A thunderous rumble echoed as the space before him was torn open. He would then instantly enter the rift, and when he reappeared, he had already left the summoned river. Using this outrageous method, Wang Lin's speed reached the peak of what his body was capable of. In the entire cave world, only Wang Lin could dare to move like this. The inside of the spatial rifts were filled with destructive turbulence, and the cultivators' bodies could not withstand this kind of impact. Even ancient demons and ancient devils would find it difficult to withstand this destructive storm. An ancient god may survive a few times but couldn't do it for long. Only an ancient Tao body, which was countless times stronger than an ancient god body, could do this. Only Wang Lin, who had the ancient Tao bloodline, could calmly enter the spatial rifts and move forward in such an unbelievable way, while not caring about the turbulence inside. The destructive storm landed on Wang Lin's body but caused him no damage. Instead, the storm itself let out a whimper and collapsed. In the brilliant void, a giant rift appeared out of nowhere. Wang Lin's powerful body stepped out of the rift. At this moment, Wang Lin's powerful ancient Tao divine sense swept the area. Shortly after, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and charged off into the distance. It had only been several breaths of time since he had awakened from his dream Tao. As Wang Lin rushed through the rifts in the summoned river, all of the All-Seer's avatar's souls arrived. When the last soul entered Wang Lin's avatar suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with struggle and pain. The All-Seer's soul was taking over his mind and body. Due to the reincarnation integration spell, it was impossible for anyone to interfere with this possession. Blue light surrounded Wang Lin's avatar. Tao Master Blue Dream calmly stood there and looked at Wang Lin's avatar. Qing Lin and Master Hong Shan were also there looking at Wang Lin. Different from Tao Master Blue Dream, they were not calm and looked nervously at Wang Lin's avatar. "Wang Lin, are you faster than this old man?" The struggle in Wang Lin's eyes became even more intense and his body trembled, his veins bulging. The ancient words came from his mouth. They were extremely strange and filled with a sense of decay. The moment Wang Lin's avatar spoke, his right eye distorted and was replaced by a shadow. He turned to look at Tao Master Blue Dream and company with his right hand. He revealed a smile of contempt. "The three of you are not weak. Since you want to stop me from leaving, I'll let you witness my 99th awakening." Wang Lin's avatar's left eye trembled and then slowly calmed down, giving off a ghostly light. He sat down and closed his eyes. Wang Lin's original body could feel everything his avatar was experiencing. As Wang Lin's avatar was being taken over, a planet appeared before his original body in the brilliant void. It was an abandoned planet that was a complete waste. There was no sign of life on it, and the entire planet was almost completely covered in deserts. The rivers had long dried up and the passages were covered by the desert. The seas were black and the countless rotten bodies in the seas made them very dirty. At a glance, there was a dark fog around the planet. The fog contained a large amount of poison, so much that a mortal would immediately rot and die if they breathed it. Even cultivators would frown upon facing this poison. There wasn't any spiritual energy here. As a result, no cultivator would come here. Not even poison cultivators would come, because the poison here wasn't that strong. The reason it would cause cultivators to frown was not the poison but the stench coming from all the rotting corpses. This abandoned planet was very ugly and also filled with a stench. Although almost everything here was different from the planet Wang Lin saw in the reincarnation cycles, the aura was exactly the same. This aura was the soul of this planet. Back then, the soul had just been born, and now its soul was near death, but Wang Lin could still recognize it. When Wang Lin saw this planet, he rushed forward and broke through the weak atmosphere. He landed on a continent on the planet. The moment Wang Lin arrived, the fog around the planet was pushed away as if a violent wind had swept by. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing everything on the planet. Wang Lin didn't hesitate when he entered the planet. After the wind swept away the fog, Wang Lin appeared above the sea. The Black Sea didn't have any waves, as if it was dead. The foul stench was even stronger, but Wang Lin didn't mind at all. He rushed into the Black Sea below. With a thunderous bang, a giant vortex appeared in the Black Sea as Wang Lin charged in. The vortex extended until it reached the sea floor. The vortex grew larger until the black silt below was revealed. The silt had been condensing for countless years and had never been exposed to the sky. At this moment, the silt was also pushed aside until the real seabed appeared. This seabed was not flat but covered in countless small mountains. This is the place. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and he charged forward. He ignored the foul stench and charged straight down. At the bottom of the sea, there was a cave that had appeared countless years ago. This cave was covered in brown dirt. This dirt was soil that had collapsed into the cave after the countless earthquakes over the years. Buried deep inside the dirt was half a compass. A gentle wind blew through the cave and pushed the dirt that hadn't moved for countless years to the side, revealing a corner of the buried compass. At the same time, a powerful palm grabbed the corner of the compass and pulled it out from the dirt. Wang Lin's eyes landed on the compass in his hand and shined brightly. Which of us is faster? In the summoned river, after Wang Lin's avatar closed his eyes, his face changed rapidly. In an instant, he no longer looked like Wang Lin but the white-haired all-seer. This kind of possession was like devouring, but it was different from the direct devouring he used to do. This devour was crucial, so he had chosen to devour from the inside to make sure there was no chance of a mistake. Although his eyes were closed, his body was rapidly fusing. This fusion was his slumber, and once the fusion was complete, he would awaken. This was his 99th awakening. After he awakened, he could find the other cluster of fog that was separated from him. Once he fused with it, he could take back control of fate itself. At that time, he would become an extraordinary heavenly Tao. He would have his own mind and wisdom that were beyond that of many others. He also knew spells and he could grow without others feeding him. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that once he took control of fate, the countless lives that had been born in the cave world would be controlled by him. If life was manipulated by a heavenly Tao without its own consciousness, it wouldn't pose much of a problem. However, if that heavenly Tao had its own consciousness, it would be terrifying. As long as he wanted to, he could even devour everything that came from the heavenly Tao. At that time, whatever was left had to be something that wasn't born here. They had to be the 3 souls and 7 fragments, and the people of the immortal astral continent. In a short period of time, more than half of the fusion was complete. After a few breaths, the fusion was complete and the all-seer opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, he revealed a smile. He raised his head and laughed. 99 awakenings, this old man has finally finished his last awakening. Heavenly Tao, this old man is the heavenly Tao. The all-seer stood up and his white hair fluttered. An ancient aura spread out from his body and a fog surrounded him. Wang Lin had seen the fog inside the reincarnation cycles, a form that belonged to the heavenly Tao. Wang Lin, your avatar has been taken. So what if your original body is not dead? This old man doesn't have time to deal with you. The all-seer's expression was fierce. He didn't even look at Tao Master Blue Dream and company. He was about to leave. However, just as he was about to move, a ray of blue light flashed before him. Tao Master Blue Dream appeared before him, preventing him from moving forward. I promised him that I wouldn't let you leave this place. Qing Lin and Master Hong Shan also closed in. The all-seer's eyes lit up and he waved his sleeve. He opened his mouth and inhaled. The world trembled as if it were reversing and endless fog filled the star system, blocking their vision. However, just as the fog appeared and an illusory mouth appeared to devour the 3 of them, a burst of blue light shined. An extremely powerful aura came from light and collided with the mouth. At the same time, a cold voice filled with killing intent came from the distance. All-seer, I have brought your original body here. The fog was hit by the blue light and directly collapsed. The illusory mouth disappeared the moment it appeared. The all-seer's face was pale and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He looked into the distance with eyes filled with shock. Behind Tao Master Blue Dream and company, he saw Wang Lin, who was dressed in white, closing in. There was half a compass in Wang Lin's right hand. This compass looked very ordinary, without any aura, but when the all-seer saw it, his heart rumbled and the shock in his eyes turned into unimaginable fear. It's impossible, you can't find my original body. So what if you found my original body? I have awakened 99 times. I'm the heavenly Tao. The all-seer stared at Wang Lin and pointed at the sky. One body of heaven, all matter in the world return to me. The all-seer roared, and the fog around him began to swirl and flew out. Space itself trembled and a giant mouth appeared. This mouth was blurry, but it immediately devoured. However, just as it was about to devour, the large mouth quivered strangely and collapsed. It dissipated from the star system. This caused the all-seer's expression to change again. Do you really think this is your 99th awakening? Wang Lin stepped closer, his voice cold. The all-seer silently pondered. Then killing intent appeared in his eyes as he stared at Wang Lin. He charged at Wang Lin without hesitation. My 3,000 avatars have fused. Even if I haven't completely awakened, I have the aura of the heavenly Tao. Before me, you are but an ant, you're not seven-colored soul. Even if you have my original body, I can kill you in an instant. The all-seer turned into a shadow and closed in on Wang Lin. However, at this moment, a flash of blue light appeared before him and Tao Master Blue Dream walked out. He waved his sleeves and hit the all-seer. The all-seer's expression was fierce. The moment Tao Master Blue Dream attacked, he let out a roar. You're also life formed by the heavenly Tao. You dare to block me? The all-seer didn't care about Tao Master Blue Dream at all. He waved his right hand and collided with Tao Master Blue Dream. A thunderous rumble echoed. Tao Master Blue Dream's expression changed and he retreated a few steps. The all-seer's expression was gloomy and he didn't retreat at all. He moved even faster toward Wang Lin. Now he was less than 100 feet from him. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He looked at the all-seer with a hint of contempt. As the all-seer closed in, Wang Lin spoke softly. My body still belongs to me. Let the Tao dissipate. The all-seer, who was 90 feet from Wang Lin, trembled and a rune flashed on his chest. Ripples spread out from the rune and soon covered the all-seer's entire body. Amidst these ripples, all the comprehension of Tao inside the body he had taken from Wang Lin dissipated. Without the comprehension of Tao, there would no longer be any essences. The fire essence in his left eye collapsed and the thunder essence in his right eye shattered. Between his eyebrows, the slaughter, life and death, karma, and true and false essences all dissipated. Even the restriction essence in the blood veins in his eyes dissipated. One short instant later, no trace of any essence remained in the body the all-seer had taken from Wang Lin. All 7 essences had disappeared into the void. The body could be considered a bucket and the water inside was the essence. Tao comprehension was what made the bucket strong so there would be no leaks. Now all the water had leaked out from the bucket. The all-seer was startled and horror appeared in his eyes. He didn't expect something like this to happen. Something like this had never happened before in his previous awakenings. Wang Lin calmly looked at the all-seer and slowly said, Let the origin soul scatter. As Wang Lin spoke, his avatar's origin soul, which had fused with the all-seer's 3,000 souls, became dim and dissipated. A cultivator without an origin soul was the same as a mortal. How could the body of a mortal withstand the occupation and fusion of the all-seer's 3,000 souls? After Wang Lin's avatar's origin soul dissipated, popping sounds came from the all-seer's body. His body trembled and began to show signs of collapse. The horror in the all-seer's eyes had reached its limit. He had schemed against the heavens, schemed against the earth, and even schemed against time. However, he was wrong for a second time against Wang Lin. He didn't expect Wang Lin to find his original body, and he didn't think Wang Lin could still control his avatar. This was impossible in his mind. He had already completely taken over this body and become an independent existence. Even now, he still didn't understand why this had happened. Why could Wang Lin still control this body? Why could Wang Lin make the Tao dissipate and origin soul scatter? While the all-seer was filled with fear and confusion, he heard Wang Lin's third sentence. Let the soul die. After this, the all-seer's body trembled violently. He felt Wang Lin's soul, the one that had fused with this 3,000 souls, suddenly dissipate. The 3,000 souls fusion was perfect and could not be separated. However, when Wang Lin's soul dissipated, the perfection was broken. The all-seer's body collapsed and the remaining 2,999 souls erupted forth. It's impossible. Impossible. Why is this so? You can still control this body. This doesn't align with the rules of this world. This doesn't follow the law of this world. I'm the heavenly Tao, I set the rules. All the bodies I take over belong to me. I know your memories. Even if you use the 3 life spell, you shouldn't be able to do this. Even if you were to die 1,000 times, I still won't die. Who are you? The 2,999 souls that had scattered turned into a fuzzy fog. This contained all the lives the All-Seer devoured in his more than 90 awakenings. They were all roaring the same time. Who the hell are you? You are not 7 colors, 3 souls, or 7 fragments. You are just a mortal created from my cave. You can't do this, I refuse to believe this. You are just part of the heavenly Tao, but I'm the master of the heavenly Tao. Wang Lin looked at the 2,999 souls that were roaring at the same time. These souls were filled with madness and confusion along with pain and disbelief. After he said this, Wang Lin lifted his left hand and pointed to the spot between his eyebrows. The ancient god stars disappeared and were replaced by a vortex. This vortex gave off an ancient aura, and after moving his hand away from it, a ray of light shot out. The light instantly expanded to become a giant beast. Nether Beast. When the Nether Beast appeared, it looked sluggish. Only a few people were around, so there was less chance of it being afraid. It looked around and then saw the fog created by the All-Seer's 2,999 souls. It seemed attracted to the fog and unknowingly opened its mouth. Saliva seemed to flow out as it pondered. These souls looked very delicious. Heavenly Tao's master? Nether Beast. This the Nether Beast. Could this beast have been formed by the other cluster of fog that separated from me? All of the All-Seer souls looked at the Nether Beast in shock. He naturally knew of the Nether Beast, but his body had been split apart by Lian Daofei, who had detonated his own origin soul. Over the countless years, he had lost connection with his other half. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used this method of 99 awakenings to regain control of reincarnation and find the other part of his body. The game is over, All-Seer. Wang Lin spoke slowly. Then he raised his right hand that held the half compass. He threw the compass directly into the Nether Beast's mouth. All of the All-Seer's souls trembled and screamed. They desperately scattered and fled in 2,999 different directions. Tao Master Blue Dream and company wanted to pursue but were stopped by Wang Lin. Wang Lin looked at the Nether Beast chewing with its giant mouth in a daze. After a long time, the confusion disappeared and was replaced with a ruthless expression. Devour them. From now on you will be complete. Wang Lin looked tired and sat down on the back of the Nether Beast. The Nether Beast suddenly opened its mouth and charged forward. The moment it opened its mouth, the 2,999 souls were shrouded in a suction force. They all screamed as they were sucked into the Nether Beast's giant mouth. Senior Blue Dream, Qinglin, and Senior Hongshan, I need to reform my cultivator avatar, so I won't return to the celestial realm with you all. Once I resolve my affair, I'll meet you guys at the celestial realm. Tell senior brother Qing Shui that it's best not to go out during this time, and that I'll need his help once I return. Wang Lin clasped his hands at the 3 of them, looking even more tired. He sat on the back of the Nether Beast and slowly disappeared into the distance. The Nether Beast's eyes were completely ruthless. It was the same gaze it had when it devoured Lian Daofei. It was extremely terrifying. With the Nether Beast present, Wang Lin no longer feared anyone in the cave world. It wasn't until this moment that he obtained the qualification to vie for supremacy. Wang Lin was very tired on the back of the Nether Beast. If the entire Nether Beast was spread out, it would be very large, but right now it had shrunken a lot and was only about 10,000 feet wide. Nevertheless, as it moved forward, it gave off a huge pressure to anyone who saw it. This pressure came from the Nether Beast's body and from its cold and ruthless gaze. This ruthlessness stemmed from its indifference to life and death, reincarnation, time, and all life. It seemed as if no life mattered before the Nether Beast. It was the heavenly Tao, everything in the cave world came from it. Whether it was cultivators or fierce beasts, they were nothing to it. Similarly, this pressure came from Wang Lin, who was sitting on the back of the Nether Beast. Although he was only quietly sitting there, the aura he gave off was like that of a celestial god. Wang Lin had the ancient Tao bloodline. This bloodline was noble enough to compete with the madman's bloodline. Even though he was still someone from the cave world, his bloodline allowed him to look down upon most people even on the immortal astral continent. The nether beast moved silently. More accurately, it wasn't moving at all, it was the world that was moving. It could go anywhere it wanted in an instant because everything here belonged to it. As Wang Lin calmly sat there, his right hand calmly toughed the nether beast. Scenes of his encounter with the All-Seer flashed through his mind. I didn't expect the nether beast I captured to be part of the heavenly Tao. The All-Seer was also part of the heavenly Tao. No wonder he believed in heavenly fate. The heavenly fate he believed in was, in fact, himself. Wang Lin looked at the nether beast below him profoundly and felt emotional. The fragment that came from the immemorial god realm, the seven-colored celestial sovereign obtained, was used for storage. Inside he found the heavenly Tao. It seems like he found the heaven-defying bead inside as well. That's why that compass exists. Everyone is searching for this heavenly Tao. Seven-colored Taoist, Old Ghost John, and the rest are all looking for the third soul. Aside from fusing with it, they all probably have plans for the heavenly Tao. And to obtain the fragment the seven-colored celestial sovereign obtained. By chance, I became the master of the heavenly Tao. From now on, I'm the master of the heavenly Tao. I don't know about the immortal astral continent, but inside the cave world, no one can steal it from me. This heavenly Tao should be complete. It could even devour Lian Daofei back then. I want to see who will dare to provoke me and become the first of my enemies to be devoured by the heavenly Tao after countless years. A powerful sense of confidence arose within Wang Lin's body. He looked into the distance and his eyes shined brightly. He didn't spread out his divine sense. He just allowed the nether beast to wander among the stars. He closed his eyes and his hands formed a seal. After adjusting himself a bit, he opened his eyes and bit the tip of the tongue to spit out blood. This mouthful of blood was blood red and floated before him, keeping pace with the nether beast below him. The blood moved and gave off a dazzling light. Bursts of fragrance spread out. Since the avatar dissipated, I'll form another one. This avatar will contain my blood as its core and walk the path of the Grand Tao. Wang Lin muttered as he pointed at the blood. With this point of his finger, the blood moved even faster. It rapidly expanded and turned into the shape of a person. However, it still looked like a person made out of blood. My blood contains the ancient Tao power, and in order to make this avatar, I need to extract the ancient Tao power. This matter is not difficult. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and the stars between his eyebrows and in his eyes appeared. They began to rotate, creating a suction force. The blood person began to distort as strands of smoke were pulled out and absorbed by Wang Lin's stars. This process was very fast. After only half an incense stick of time, all of the ancient Tao aura was extracted. The blood person now had no ancient Tao aura at all left. As the ancient Tao aura was extracted, the blood person shined brightly. Slowly, the blood color changed and soon an avatar that looked exactly like Wang Lin appeared. This avatar was like a newborn baby. Although it looked like an adult, it had no soul, it was just a body. Soul form. Wang Lin pointed to between his eyebrows and a part of his soul split off. It came out of his orifices and slowly entered the avatar. Once that sliver of soul entered the avatar, Wang Lin felt like he and the avatar had mixed like water. There was no difference between them. After doing all of this, Wang Lin looked even more tired. He slowly closed his eyes as if he was sleeping. The moment his original body closed his eyes, his avatar's eyes opened and shined brightly. He calmly looked at his newly formed avatar and pointed at the sky. The fire essence I comprehended that was dispersed into the void return. The moment he spoke, fire seeds began to appear around the nether beast. More and more fire seeds appeared. From a distance it looked like the star system was burning. A sea of fire ranged across the stars. The sea of fire turned into a ring and swirled around Wang Lin. Endless fire gathered from across the star system, looking like a large wave that was constantly swirling. When all the fire closed in on Wang Lin, his left eye seemed to turn into a black hole that devoured fire. The sea of fire rushed into his left eye. In an instant, the sea of fire disappeared and the mark of the fire essence appeared in Wang Lin's left eye. The thunder essence that entered the void. As the Lord of Thunder, I summon you to return to me. Wang Lin spoke softly and then waved his right hand. With this wave, the star system trembled and countless ripples spread in all directions. A muffled rumble came from the distance and soon grew louder. This rumble came from all directions, and in just a few moments, it replaced all other sounds. The deafening rumble continued as endless thunder appeared over the horizon, all rushing toward Wang Lin. In an instant, all the thunder condensed in Wang Lin's right eye. Bolts of thunder rushed into his eyes, and every bolt caused thunder to arc around him. The thunderbolts seemed to be cheering in joy due to returning to their master. Soon, all the thunder dissipated before Wang Lin's right eye. The mark of the eternal thunder suddenly appeared in his right eye. Two essences, fire in his left eye and thunder in his right eye. The ethereal essences I comprehended in my dream Tao. They contain the domains and grandaos I achieved in my life. Although they all have dissipated, I can still summon them back. The first ethereal essence to return will be life and death. Wang Lin murmured and then opened his hands. My left hand is life and my right hand is death. As time passes, my Tao heart remains unchanged. Wang Lin's left hand gave off strands of white gas that eventually surrounded it. They gave off a soft white glow. This was life force, Wang Lin's life force, and a part of his comprehension of life and death that he had gained over the past 2,000 years. At the same time, black gas surrounded his right hand, forming a ball of black light. This black gas was filled with death and decay. It seemed like it could extract the souls from the underworld. When the white and black auras appeared, they moved up his arms until they gathered between his eyebrows. They fused together and rotated like the yin and yang symbol. The life and death essence had returned. The aura inside Wang Lin's body suddenly erupted. The second to return will be the true and false essence. True and false, false and true, thus is life. Wang Lin silently pondered, feeling emotional about the matter with all-seer. After he spoke, his body immediately turned illusory as if he was unreal. In particular, his eyes were like the stars. If someone looked at his eyes, they would enter a state of confusion. I close my eyes and everything is false. I open my eyes and everything is true, Wang Lin murmured before closing his eyes. The heavens and earth all dissipated. The cave world, the third soul, and even the nether beast no longer existed. At this moment, everything was an illusion to Wang Lin. The moment he opened his eyes, the true and false essence gathered. While Wang Lin was reforming his cultivator avatar's essences, the nether beast below him was slowly drifting. It had left the summoned river and arrived in the cloud sea. At this moment in the cloud sea, there was a group of people moving through the star system. These people were being led by 4 old men, and there were more than 100 of them. As they flew through the star system, ripples echoed. They gave off an extremely powerful aura, with the 4 leading being the strongest. They were using some unknown spell that actually connected their divine senses together. At this moment, there was a giant gourd above their heads. The gourd was completely green and contained marks left by time. There was a cluster of green fog inside the gourd that seemed to be guiding them. The 4 old men would stop moving after flying for a while. They would bow at the gourd and their fused divine senses would fly out as if they were communicating with the gourd. These 4 old men were the 4 generals of the ancient celestial realm. Behind these celestials was old Ghost John in a Taoist robe. He didn't care about the celestials before him, and they don't seem to care about his existence either. After devouring the all-seer, the nether beast became the heavenly Tao. If it didn't want other to detect its aura, it would be very difficult to find. If it was outside the cave world, the heavenly Tao would have some flaws, but inside the cave world it was absolute. Back then, not even Lian Daofei was able to detect the heavenly Tao before he was devoured. Although the nether beast had been in the cloud sea all along, not even old Ghost John had noticed it. As for the 4 generals, they also didn't notice. Their divine senses were powerful enough to cover the entire cloud sea, but they couldn't see the nether beast. They didn't even notice Wang Lin, who was sitting on the back of the nether beast. This was why the all-seer was able to stay in the summoned river for hundreds of years while remaining undetected. Wang Lin's original body was sitting on the back of the nether beast, and his avatar was condensing his essences on the side. The ripples that were spreading across the cloud sea could not be hidden, and were detected by the 4 generals and other celestials. However, no matter how they searched with their divine senses, they could not find anything. In their divine senses, the nether beast didn't exist. It was just calm space. Old Ghost John, who was following them, also frowned as he looked into the distance. He frowned but still found nothing in the end. This is a bit strange. Old Ghost John's eyes lit up and he began to ponder. Wang Lin didn't know all of this. His original body was sleeping to recover, and his avatar was reforming his essences. After the true and false essence appeared, Wang Lin raised his right hand and slowly opened his palm. The third ethereal essence is the karma essence. Palm open is karmic cause and palm closed is karmic effect. The karma essence gathered in Wang Lin's right hand. The invisible force condensed in his right palm. After this, the slaughter and restriction essences were summoned back and recondensed by Wang Lin. The 7 essences slowly cycled inside Wang Lin's body. As his essences moved, his original soul slowly appeared from his essences. This allowed Wang Lin to slowly return back to the way he was before his avatar collapsed. The only difference was that there was no all-seer avatar soul. The moment Wang Lin's avatar recovered completely, his original body opened his eyes and looked at his avatar. After a moment, his avatar and original body overlapped to become one. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he moved his body. After finding no discomfort, he looked into the distance. Since I am qualified to vie for supremacy, then I need to take a trip to Planet 5 Elements. There are too many secrets there, and the last force in the cave world is hidden there. This force is clearly holding the idea of benefiting at the end, similar to the All-Seer. Since you all like to hide in the dark, then let me force you out to the open, and let you know that this cave world does not belong to any of you outsiders. After forcing the last hidden force to come out, the competition for the third soul will officially begin. From Wang Lin's point of view, the All-Seer was a nail that had to be removed. Otherwise, there would be too many unforeseen variables in the future. One of those could be fatal. This was indeed the truth. Now that the All-Seer had been destroyed by Wang Lin, what remained was the second nail, the Celestials from the Gui sect. These outsiders were the second nail. He was going to expose them to the light. This was also a game for supremacy. This was how Wang Lin saw it. It all depended on who could find the third soul first. As Wang Lin pondered, the nether beast below him slowly moved forward and soon arrived in the depths of the cloud sea. Under Wang Lin's command, the nether beast closed its terrifying eyes and was about to move to the brilliant void. However, just at this moment, Wang Lin exclaimed softly. He looked into the distance and his eyes lit up. Shortly after, more than 100 rays of light appeared in the distance. They were heading toward Wang Lin. The 4 people in front had a gourd above their heads. The gourd gave off a green gas that was like a storm. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he sat on the back of the nether beast. He coldly looked at those rays of lights closing in, but he didn't pay them any attention. Wang Lin! The more than 100 rays of light suddenly stopped. A shocked voice came from the 4 old men leading them. The person that spoke was the Azure Dragon General. He stared at Wang Lin, especially at the nether beast below Wang Lin. The Azure Dragon General's heart suddenly skipped a beat. What kind of beast is this? He didn't know it was the nether beast and didn't know it was the heavenly Tao. After all, aside from the 7-colored celestial sovereign, no one had seen the true body of the heavenly Tao. They only knew it was a mass of fog. Vermilion bird, black tortoise and white tiger were all shocked. Their gazes locked on to the nether beast below Wang Lin. The reason they were shocked was because their divine senses had been spread out this whole time, but they hadn't noticed Wang Lin at all. If it wasn't for the fact that they could see him with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe Wang Lin was here. Even now, they were only seeing the calm star system with their divine senses. It was as if Wang Lin and the beast below him didn't exist at all. How could the 4 of them not be alarmed? The 4 of them looked at each other and saw the shock and confusion in each other's eyes. Old Ghost John was even more shocked, and his pupils shrank. He didn't notice any danger from Wang Lin, but the beast below Wang Lin gave him a clear sense of danger. What are you calling me for? Wang Lin was very calm as he looked at the more than 100 celestials. None of them were a threat, only the 4 generals were worth looking at. After his gaze swept by, he noticed the giant gourd that was floating above the 4 generals. The gourd gave off strands of celestial energy. It was extraordinary. The Azure Dragon General suppressed the shock in his heart. His eyes lit up and he slowly said, "We haven't seen fellow cultivator Wang since we parted. Now that we meet today, I wonder where fellow cultivator is going." The brilliant void. Wang Lin didn't waste time. After he said these 2 words, the nether beast below him silently floated forward. He didn't have time to bother with these people. Neither the 4 generals nor old Ghost John were enough to make Wang Lin stop. However, although he wanted to leave, the others won't let him. The 4 generals looked at each other and all looked at the nether beast below Wang Lin. Their eyes revealed a strange light. The Azure Dragon General moved before Wang Lin and slowly said, "Why is fellow cultivator Wang Lin leaving so anxiously? We had an agreement before, and after we arrived we didn't cause trouble for your celestial realm or kill anyone in the cave world. Now fellow cultivator is in such a rush to leave. Could there be some urgent matter?" Wang Lin frowned. He coldly stared at the other and after a long time he calmly said 2 words. "Make way. Fellow cultivator Wang, please don't be angry. We mean no malice, we just find this beast extremely strange. Can actually avoid all divine sense. I wonder, where did fellow cultivator find this beast?" The White Tiger General smiled and stepped forward. He stood on the right of Wang Lin. At the same time, the Black Tortoise also stepped forward and appeared on Wang Lin's left. The Vermilion Bird General hesitated for a bit, but still decided to seal Wang Lin's rear path. Shortly after, the more than 100 ancient celestials silently closed in and surrounded Wang Lin and the nether beast. "Fellow cultivator Wang Lin, I have completely abided to our deal, so there is no need to harm our relationship. Otherwise, something might happen to your little celestial realm." The Black Tortoise General spoke, his words gloomy. Wang Lin looked at the celestials that had surrounded him, but his eyes remained calm. "Fellow cultivator Wang, you have the Li Guang Bao, so we don't want to be enemies with you. You just need to tell me where you obtained that beast." Azure Dragon General stared at the nether beast. Greed was hidden in his eyes. "I believe fellow cultivator Xian is interested in the origin of this beast." Black Tortoise General was the most cunning. At this moment he glanced back at Old Ghost John, who was floating alone in the distance. Old Ghost John slowly revealed a smile. Given his age, he was definitely even more cunning. The reason the 4 generals had dared to stop Wang Lin was because he was still following them. When he was young, he often borrowed the power of others to put pressure on someone else. He was also interested in this beast, so after pondering for a bit, he nodded. "I'm indeed interested in this beast. If you are willing to part with it, I can promise you one thing. Fellow cultivator, for just a fierce beast, you will waste several shots from the Li Guang Bao. It is not worth it. Besides, how many shots do you have left? Can you now tell us where you found this beast? And if you can, lend this beast to this old man. If you lend me this beast, this old man will immediately let you go. Even if you don't let me borrow it, since we are all friends, I naturally won't block you. However, there might be some issue with our cooperation from before. There aren't many cultivators left in the cave world." The Azure Dragon General slowly said, smiling. "Instead of looking for the 3rd soul, you come to find trouble with me. It seems the pain from before was not deep enough. Fine, today I'll let you feel pain. Enough pain that it will be imprinted in your bones." Wang Lin's expression was flat as he stood up. His left hand reached toward the void and the heaven-splitting axe appeared. As he spoke, the expression of the 4 generals changed. Even Old Ghost John's expression became serious as he stared at Wang Lin. This was the first time Wang Lin had spoken of the 3rd soul everyone was thinking of. The 4 generals had never mentioned this to Wang Lin before. To them, this was the top secret in the cave world, something that very few people in the cave world knew. However, before they could recover from the shock of Wang Lin's words, the heaven-splitting axe in Wang Lin's hand rapidly expanded. The ancient Tao aura inside Wang Lin erupted. The ancient god's heaven-splitting axe was injected with Wang Lin's ancient Tao power. In this world, there was no one else who was more suited to wield this axe. Wang Lin grabbed the axe and chopped down without hesitation. All of this happened in an instant. The moment the axe descended, the star system rumbled and the ancient Tao shadow appeared. The shadow also held the axe and chopped down with Wang Lin. The Azure Dragon General was the closest. In an instant, his celestial bloodline appeared and the shadow of an azure dragon appeared around him. He charged at the axe. At the same time, Black Tortoise, Vermilion Bird, and White Tiger all roared. 3 large shadows appeared around Wang Lin. The giant White Tiger, the fire-like Vermilion Bird, and the huge earth-like Black Tortoise rushed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He was going to make these ancient celestials feel pain and learn this lesson. He didn't dodge, but his ancient Tao power filled his body to form the immortal ancient body. As his body continued to recover, the axe in Wang Lin's left hand landed, creating a huge rift. The Azure Dragon struggled before it suddenly exploded. The Azure Dragon General appeared and charged at Wang Lin. The four of them joined forces and their spells landed on Wang Lin at the same time. Wang Lin's left hand raised the axe up again. He swept around and a thunderous rumble echoed. The powerful axe energy collided with their spells, creating a powerful shockwave that pushed the over 100 surrounding celestials back. At the same time, the spells of the four generals penetrated the axe energy and landed on Wang Lin. This resulted in thunderous rumble so loud, it was as if the star system was going to collapse. The four generals retreated, their expressions revealing killing intent. Wang Lin was still standing on the nether beast's body, using the immortal ancient body to resist their joint attack by force. Your cultivations haven't recovered completely, only at the late stage of arcane void. With such low cultivation levels, you can't injure my body. Wang Lin stepped forward and moved extremely fast. He arrived behind a celestial and his right hand clawed forward. The power of heaven ripping appeared. Wang Lin's right arm was Yimo's arm. The celestial couldn't resist the tearing force at all, and his body directly collapsed into a pile of flesh and blood. Even the two celestials behind him couldn't escape the tearing force. Their bodies collapsed and their origin souls were torn apart. Wang Lin's body flickered and entered a rift as the four generals closed in. He appeared inside a group of celestials not far away. Heaven ripping. When Wang Lin appeared, he mercilessly used heaven ripping. As miserable screams echoed, the 7 or 8 celestials collapsed. The four generals all roared and spells filled the star system, rushing toward Wang Lin. However, Wang Lin resisted them with his immortal ancient body, and appeared before another group of celestials. The celestials were filled with terror and felt intense pain inside their bodies. They were unable to dodge or resist before being ripped apart. Wang Lin, I'm going to slaughter your celestial realm, the Azure Dragon General roared, his eyes filled with anger. However, even more so, he was filled with disbelief about Wang Lin's methods and powerful physical body. Looks like the lesson in blood isn't enough. Wang Lin stepped back and stood on top of the nether beast. Just as old Ghost John was about to close in, Wang Lin shook the blood off his right hand and patted the nether beast. Devour these people. When Wang Lin said this, old Ghost John suddenly stopped, and at the same time the nether beast's eyes opened up. The ruthlessness and indifference in those eyes shocked everyone here. It was also at this moment that the Azure Dragon General's mind rumbled. This kind of gaze was very rare, and he had only seen it once in his life. A very long time ago. He saw that the fog that had devoured Lian Daofei had the same gaze. This. Just as all four generals started feeling terror, the nether beast followed Wang Lin's order and opened its mouth to devour. If the stars were the world, then the world changed colors. If the dust were wind, then the dust scattered. Endless fog suddenly appeared in the star system, giving off an ancient aura that everyone could feel. It was also at this time that a powerful suction force appeared. The remaining 70 or 80 celestials around the four generals turned pale as they were pulled in by the suction force. Screams of fear echoed as all of them were devoured by the nether beast. All of this happened in an instant. It was too fast for people to react. They only felt fog surround the area and then miserable screams echoed. Once everything was over, the star system was still the same star system and no fog remained, as if it had never been there in the first place. However, aside from Wang Lin, only 5 people remained. Will you remember the pain this time? Wang Lin was still sitting on the back of the nether beast and hadn't moved this entire time. His voice wasn't loud, but when it entered the ears of the 5 remaining people, including old Ghost John, their hearts trembled. Heavenly Tao. This is the Heavenly Tao. The Azure Dragon General trembled and his eyes were filled with fear as if a tide was drowning him. He had never been this afraid before, not even when he saw Wang Lin draw the Li Guang Bao. The Heavenly Tao is actually with you. The most cunning black tortoise was also shaken, and the fear in his eyes was no weaker than the Azure Dragon's. He felt that that suction force from before was enough to completely drown him. In his mind, what appeared wasn't only fear and terror but despair. In his eyes, Wang Lin had become a terrifying existence. The White Tiger General and Vermilion Bird General remained startled, as if someone had used the stop spell on them. I actually had my eyes on the heavenly Tao. No wonder I couldn't detect its aura, no wonder. Old Ghost John's pupils shrank, revealing unimaginable shock. The seven-colored soul inside him raged and took control of his body. His face was distorted and he rushed toward Wang Lin. He stared at Wang Lin with dread in his eyes. If it wasn't inside the cave world, it would not be afraid of the heavenly Tao, but inside here it was different. The heavenly Tao was everything here. Controlling the heavenly Tao meant controlling everything here. However, even so, the heavenly Tao's devour had its limit. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been split by Lien Daofei's self-destruction. Old Ghost John had his own method of dealing with it, but he was thinking of another problem. You found the third soul. Old Ghost John's voice was filled with bitterness and desolation. However, it was not his voice that had spoken. These words belonged to the seven-colored soul. I didn't find it. Wang Lin shook his head. The nether beast below him coldly looked at the five of them before closing its eyes and drifting away. After he moved past the four generals, they immediately trembled and fled. They no longer dared to block Wang Lin anymore. They watched Wang Lin and the nether beast disappear into the distance and couldn't calm down for a long time. They may have methods to not be afraid of Old Ghost John. After all, his body contained the soul of seven-colored celestial sovereign. However, when facing Wang Lin with the heavenly Tao, they could only remain silent. Wang Lin sat on the back of the nether beast as he floated toward brilliant void. Although he looked calm, he sighed in his heart. Could it be that the heavenly Tao is not complete? The four generals were easy, but the nether beast conveyed that it would be very difficult to devour Old Ghost John. Also in the brilliant void, there was a ray of seven-colored light. The seven-colored Taoist, holding 9 fist-sized balls of blood, was flying forward. 9 mysterious blood is finally complete. With this secret blood force, I can enter reincarnation and find where the third soul reincarnated to. He should be in brilliant void. On the immortal astral continent, in an area that belonged to the Celestials, there was an intersection of mountains. There were many mountains here, and this area was covered in a dense forest, as if it was a wild land. It was night right now, and the starlight scattered across the land. But it wasn't quiet. Roars of fierce beasts would echo from within the forest. A very long time ago there was a celestial sect here. It was called the Seven Tao Sect. Ripples echoed in the sky where the moon hanging. The ripples seemed to distort the moon as a figure slowly appeared. It was a young man with black hair. The young man seemed tired as he looked at the earth below. His tired face revealed a smile and was filled with expectation. It seemed that although he had paid a great price to get there, it was all worth it. Child of my ancient Tao clan, I have come to take you home. The road back will be difficult, but I know you won't be afraid. The young man smiled as he walked forward. The brilliant void had existed for countless years. As for how long it had existed, no one knew. Maybe the original owner of the cave, the seven-colored celestial sovereign, knew. From the moment Wang Lin was born to now, it had been more than 2,000 years, and the brilliant void had experienced 2 wars. The first was the war against all heaven. There were many deaths and it was complete chaos. However, compared to the second war, the first war was nothing. It was the war between the inner and outer realms. The brilliant void had become a desolate ruin. Whether it was cultivators or mortals, they let out howls of despair. Many planets filled with life collapsed into dust. This star system that was once bright was now silent. The star system was dim due to being covered in dust. There weren't many planets left, but some had managed to remain intact. They either didn't participate in the war or weren't destroyed by others. Within the vast star system, there was a planet like this that was slowly rotating. This planet was green. The lush trees gave the planet a layer of shade. This was a planet filled with spiritual energy. Not even planet Tianyun could compare to it. There were no smaller planets around it, only 5 different colored rings. These 5 rings intersected, looking like a blooming flower. The planet looked very beautiful from a distance. There were many mortals on this planet. There were likely 1 billion mortals there. They lived a happy life not affected by war, which was rare in the brilliant void. It seemed that because the spiritual energy here was so rich, the mortals were rarely sick. Most of them had healthy bodies and were very beautiful. Also, as the generations went on, more mortals that had talent for cultivation appeared. This planet was Planet 5 Element. There was only one sect on Planet 5 Elements, and it was called the Guei sect. The meaning of the sect's name was likely fusing all 5 elements into one. In the brilliant void, Planet 5 Elements was very strange. Although it was in the star system, it was difficult to find. If the Cultivation Alliance didn't know its exact coordinates, it would be difficult to locate it. Even if one used their divine sense, they would just see the void like with the Nether Beast. It was because of this that this planet had not been caught in both wars. However, accidents still happen. During the war between the inner and outer realms, a group of outer realm cultivators accidentally entered the planet. They never came out. This was Planet 5 Elements, mysterious and unfathomable. Wang Lin had the location of Planet 5 Elements. Na Duo had given it to him back then and invited him to the planet. Wang Lin was holding the jade, carefully determining its location. Na Duo's invitation was more than 1,000 years ago. A lot can change in 1,000 years. Wang Lin's divine sense withdrew from the jade. The Nether Beast floated forward. On the way to Planet 5 Elements, Wang Lin thought about the past. He had met Na Duo due to a bag of holding and was then hunted by Na Duo. The danger was only resolved once he revealed his G realm. Na Duo has a 5-color G realm. Wang Lin murmured as the Nether Beast wandered into a very unfamiliar star domain. This star domain was impossible to see with divine sense from the outside, no matter how high your cultivation level was. It was as if this place was separated from the brilliant void. Wang Lin saw Planet 5 Elements, which was like a blooming flower, directly before him. The moment he saw the planet, Wang Lin's eyes couldn't help but reveal a hint of intoxication. The rings around the planet were very beautiful. Wang Lin had seen a lot of planets, but this was the most beautiful. This planet doesn't belong to the cave world. Wang Lin closed his eyes. He was the master of the heavenly Tao, so he could feel the thoughts of the Nether Beast below him. The reason this planet could not be detected by divine sense and seemed like it was in a space separate from the brilliant void was because this planet did not belong in the cave world. After coming here, these foreign cultivators used some method I don't know about to bring a planet from the immortal astral continent. Wang Lin closed his eyes and integrated with the heavenly Tao. He then slowly opened his eyes, and they were now filled with clarity. Wang Lin stood up and stepped forward, allowing the Nether Beast to float there while he walked toward the dazzling planet. The moment he closed in, the 5 rings around the planet shined brightly and expanded outwards. The 5 rings rotated rapidly, creating a howling sound, and prevented Wang Lin from entering. Wang Lin stopped and looked at the planet inside the rings. After pondering a bit, he spoke slowly. Na Duo, today I came to for our appointment from back then. Wang Lin's voice was calm and spread out in all directions. It entered the planet and spread throughout it like thunder. His voice was like the might of heaven itself. The moment his voice echoed, every living thing on the planet stopped, whether it was the mortals or the cultivators. Even the beasts in the jungle all trembled. Wang Lin's voice echoed in their ears. Wang Lin still calmly stood outside the rings waiting for a reply. After a long time, a hoarse voice came from the planet. This voice revealed shock and horror along with a sense of hidden dread. Elder Na Duo has entered closed-door cultivator and won't come out. We have no way of awakening him. Why are you looking for him? Wang Lin pondered a bit and shook his head. He then softly said, Who are you? This old man is the Guei sect's vice-sect master, Yin Dongshen. When the sect master and elders are in closed-door cultivation, I'm responsible for all matters. I know who you are, but Elder Na Duo can't come out, so please leave. The voice was very cautious, and it had only spoken a long time after Wang Lin spoke. Wang Lin's gaze penetrated the 5 rings and faintly saw the planet. After a long time he spoke calmly. He knows I'm coming. With that, Wang Lin stepped toward the rapidly rotating 5 rings. As Wang Lin stepped forward, the hoarse voice became sharp and was filled with fear. Sir's identity is noble, but my Planet 5 Elements is not something you can enter as you wish. If you try to break through, this old man will activate the 5-element formation. The formation is ruthless. Before the hoarse voice finished, an overbearing divine sense spread out and interrupted him. This divine sense was extremely arrogant. If you can break through the 5-element formation, you can enter my planet 5 elements. What's with all this nonsense? If you dare to break through, come in. If you don't dare, then scram. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He didn't care about the voice at all. He kept his pace and continued to walk forward. When he touched the intersecting rings, popping sounds echoed around him. The sound was intense. It sounded as if countless spells were attacking Wang Lin at once. These spells came from the 5 rings and contained the power of the 5 elements. Sometimes it was fire, sometimes it was water, sometimes it was metal, sometimes it was earth, and sometimes it was wood. Wang Lin stepped into the formation. On the eastern part of the planet, there were 9 towering mountains that formed a ring. This was the location of the Guiyi sect. The 9 peaks pierced through the sky like 9 swords that pierced the heavens. A powerful killing intent spread out for more than 1 million kilometers. Within these 1 million kilometers, there were no mortals or living creatures. The ground was completely black. There was a huge tower being surrounded by the 9 mountains. This tower was higher than the mountains, and it had 99 floors. This tower was the Guiyi sect. The entire Guiyi sect existed in this huge tower. This was completely different from all the other sects in the cave world. At this moment, rays of light flew out from floor 30 and below and gathered around. Each ray of light was a cultivator, and their cultivation levels varied. Most of them were first-step cultivators and not many were second-step cultivators. At this moment, these cultivators all looked up at the sky with disdain in their eyes. Just after they flew out from the lower 30 floors, nearly 100 cultivators flew out from the mid-30 floors. These cultivators were mostly old people, and most of them were at the second step. They looked calm as they occupied 4 of the 9 peaks. They all looked up at the sky. Their eyes were also filled with disdain. They don't believe anyone could easily walk out of the Guiyi sect's Planet Guardian formation. At the top 10 floors of the tower sat 4 people. One of them was wearing a black robe and had a mole under his right eye. He looked extremely arrogant and let out a cold snort. So what if he is Wang Lin? Aside from 7-colored soul, there is no one else we need to fear in the cave world. Even if I were to enter the 5-element formation, I would only last for 1 incense stick of time and would be stopped at the fire trial. Even though his cultivation level is higher than mine, it is impossible for him to pass all 5 trials. Beside the old man was a middle-aged woman. Her expression was vicious as she let out a sharp laugh. I hope he can pass through all 5 trials and activate the full formation and trigger the 9-cycle 5 elements. I want to see how many cycles he can last. Among the 4 of them, there was an old man in a Taoist robe. His face had brown spots, and after hesitating for a bit, he spoke with a hoarse voice. This matter. Should we tell Elder Na Duo? He was the one that dreaded Wang Lin a lot in Dongshen. The last to speak was the middle-aged man. He frowned and slowly said, I also suggest not to provoke this Wang Lin before informing Elder Na Duo. He is very famous and since came to visit When has our Guiyi sect ever been afraid of anyone? Even if this Wang Lin is famous, so what? Even if he was a dragon, he would still have to lie down before us. The middle-aged woman shrieked. The black-robed old man waved his sleeve and coldly said, No need to argue, this old man has made up his mind. Also, it doesn't mean Elder Na Duo is unaware of this. Since he didn't come out, let's see what kind of 3-headed 6-armed demon this Wang Lin is. As he waved his sleeve, the space between the 4 of them distorted and a mirror appeared. The mirror revealed Wang Lin, who was walking toward the intersecting 5 rings. At the same time, 2 people were sitting in the 9th floor. Both of them were middle-aged and one of them wore a 5-colored robe. He calmly looked at the sky outside the tower with a mysterious light in his eyes. If Wang Lin was here, he would immediately recognize this person as Na Duo. The years left no trace on Na Duo's body. He still looked the same as before. Looking at the sky, Na Duo revealed a smile. Back then, he was only a mere nascent soul cultivator. After just 1,000 years he has grown to such heights. Even I'm not his match. I'm also not his match, but so what? We are, after all, just their descendants. Just guarding this place is enough. The middle-aged man sitting opposite of Na Duo was dressed in purple. He was very handsome, and after hearing Na Duo's words he laughed. If a real enemy came, there would be no need for us to act. Any one of the ancestors above can awaken and resolve everything. However, do you think this Wang Lin can walk out of the 5-element formation? He should be able to walk out from the 5-element formation, but as for the 9 cycles, he should not walk past the 3rd cycle. That formation was set by the 9 ancestors long ago, but even after countless years have passed, it is not something ordinary people can break. I know a bit about this Wang Lin. He is only at the mid-stage of spirit void. Na Duo smiled. The middle-aged man also smiled. He looked outside the tower and slowly said, "Let us watch this like a play." Inside the 5 rings, Wang Lin calmly walked forward. The rings let out thunderous howls, but none of this was able to hurt Wang Lin at all. His ancient Tao body was very strong, not something these mere spells could injure. The 5 elements continued to appear. Sometimes it was monstrous fire, sometimes it was a sandstorm, sometimes the angry sea covered the sky, sometimes thousands of pieces of metal howled, and sometimes trees came crashing down. Wang Lin didn't stop walking at all. He had come to planet 5 elements fully prepared. Even if this place was the tiger's den, he was still going to try to break through. The second variable aside from the Ulcir was hidden here. Wang Lin didn't know how much force was hidden here, and was thus at an extreme disadvantage at finding the 3rd soul. The purpose of him coming here was to unveil the variable here. He wanted to know exactly how powerful the force hiding here was. Only by doing this could Wang Lin rest assured. He wasn't arrogant enough to crush this force himself, but he was confident that if he wanted to leave, no one would dare to stop him. If he didn't have this self-confidence, he wouldn't have come here by himself. As he stepped forward, the 5-element spells continued to collapse around Wang Lin. After taking 14 steps, Wang Lin entered the inner part of where the 5 rings intersected. The light here was bright and dazzling. The 5 elements around Wang Lin suddenly changed. All of the elements around him turned into earth element. Everything he had seen before was just the outer layer. What Wang Lin was facing now was the real first formation of the 5-element formation, the Great Earth Formation. After Wang Lin entered the 5 rings and the Earth Formation was activated, his vision became blurry. It was as if he had entered another world. This world only had an earth and no sky. Below him was endless earth and above him was an upside-down earth instead of the sky. Soil particles fell from above like rain. Storms appeared, connecting the 2 earths. It wasn't just one storm but 9. These 9 storms released endless howls. At the same time, the 9 storms moved extremely fast and instantly closed in. They turned into 9 human faces 10,000 feet away from Wang Lin. These 9 faces were made of mud and sand, and they rushed toward Wang Lin. The earth below Wang Lin trembled and moved like a wave as if there were fierce beasts hidden below. Thunderous rumbles echoed in Wang Lin's ears as he coldly and calmly looked at everything. A mere 5-element spirit, not worthy of being acknowledged. Wang Lin stepped forward and closed in on a face. As it roared, Wang Lin threw a punch at it. The face collapsed with a bang and a large amount of dirt flew by Wang Lin. Wang Lin suddenly moved and closed in on the second face, throwing another punch. Then Wang Lin took 9 steps and threw 9 punches. All 9 faces collapsed, but at this moment, the strange earth that was hanging in the sky began to move and squeeze down. At the same time, the earth below began to raise. All of this happened in an instant. In the blink of an eye, the 2 earths closed in and crushed Wang Lin. Inside the tower, the 4 people saw this in the mirror. When this happened, the black-robed old man began to laugh. How can the earth formation be broken so easily? This Wang Lin seems to be too self-confident. Even though he is at the 3rd step, breaking the earth formation would take some effort. That's right, this just the second change in the earth formation, and there are 7 more. I think that even if this Wang Lin passed the first earth formation, he would be seriously injured. The middle-aged woman spoke with a sharp voice. She stared at Wang Lin with hatred and joy. Wang Lin, you know Sitanan, so today you can accept punishment in place of that heartless person. The other 2 people were startled and frowned. They looked at each other and felt like something was wrong. Everything seemed to have gone too well. Just at this moment, the world inside the mirror changed drastically. This change was too sudden, and it interrupted the laughter of the black-robed old man and the middle-aged woman. When the two of them saw what happened, their expressions changed. Inside the mirror, the two earths had already closed and Wang Lin was sealed in the middle, with no opening at all. However, at this moment, a very rhythmic rumble came from between the two earths, as if someone was casually punching something. Cracks suddenly appeared on the earth. More and more cracks appeared until the earth suddenly shattered. Wang Lin, looking the same as before, walked out of the collapsed earth. If that was all, it wouldn't be enough to shock the black-robed old man and the middle-aged woman. What shocked them was that Wang Lin waved his hand and used some unknown spell. The earth shattered, flew toward Wang Lin, and condensed in his right hand. It turned into a pile of dirt. This small pile of dirt gave off a powerful spirit aura. It was the formation spirit of the earth formation. The four of them silently pondered and the black-robed old man gasped. His eyes filled with fear. He blankly watched as Wang Lin held the handful of dirt and pushed it away. He saw Wang Lin look up at him, and he subconsciously let out a cry. He wasn't the only one. The moment Wang Lin's gaze swept by, the middle-aged woman and the other two felt their scalps tingle. They immediately backed up. He couldn't have found us, we are outside the formation. He actually captured the earth spirit. On the 10th floor, Na Duo's gaze was still locked onto the sky outside the tower, and he gradually frowned. The middle-aged man opposite of Na Duo softly said, "If he had just broken the earth formation, it would have been fine, but he took away the earth spirit. Sure enough, he is deserving of his reputation. He is very strong. No problem, there are still 4 more formations. And after them there are the 9 cycles. I want to see how he will take them." Na Duo's eyes revealed a cold gaze. He and Wang Lin couldn't even be considered friends. At most they were acquaintances, and any relation they had dissipated over the past 1,000 years. At this moment, no one in the cave world noticed that a flash of blood-colored light had appeared in the brilliant void. This blood-colored light turned into a black-haired youth. The young man wore a black robe and looked into the distance. He revealed a happy smile. "He is there. That's fine. I don't know this child's personality, so I might as well follow him and take a look." Inside the 5 intersecting rings, the scene was a complete blur. It was very difficult to see inside from the outside. One could only see the distorted ripples coming from the 5 rings. Wang Lin was deep inside these 5 rings and he was very calm. In his right hand was a small pile of dirt that was moving. It constantly changed to various different shapes. It tried to break out of Wang Lin's hand, but in the end Wang Lin clenched his fist. The handful of dirt collapsed and was unable to reform. It dissipated from Wang Lin's palm. The dirt was formed by the earth element and contained a trace of earth essence. Now that Wang Lin had put it away, there were 2 piles of dirt in his storage space. The other had been given to him by the All-Seer. They are worthy of being from the immortal astral continent to put an earth spirit inside this formation. After tens of thousands of years, the spirit might have grown into a 3rd-step earth spirit body. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked at the 5-element formation with passion in his eyes. Wang Lin became very interested in this formation. I have the fire essence among the 5 elements. If I can obtain the other 4, my cultivation level will increase greatly. If all 5 elements fuse into one, I wonder if it will give birth to a new essence. Wang Lin smiled as he looked around at the 5-element formation. His smile became even brighter. Wang Lin would not talk about morals with enemies, especially with people not from the cave world. Strength was everything. If the other party had the power to keep Wang Lin here, he would give up. If not, then these people were mere robbers to Wang Lin. Wang Lin would be even more ruthless towards robbers. After taking away the earth spirit, Wang Lin stepped forward. After this step, what appeared before Wang Lin was a world of fire. This sea of fire filled the entire world. Wang Lin saw that the sky was red and the earth was red, and all this red was fire. The sky was burning and the earth was also burning. His vision distorted due to the ripples created by the terrifying heat. There were no signs of life in this heat, only fire. The monstrous fire roared and released popping sounds that entered Wang Lin's ears. However, this had no effect on Wang Lin. In fact, Wang Lin felt more comfortable here than outside. In Planet 5 Elements, in the middle floors, the black-robed man and the middle-aged man's group of 4 had just managed to suppress the horror in their hearts. They stared at the mirror and saw Wang Lin within the fire. Although the power of the fire spirit is similar to the earth spirit, fire itself has the power to burn the body and soul. Although this Wang Lin has taken away the earth spirit, he absolutely won't have an easy time with the fire formation. The black-robed old man naturally didn't know about Wang Lin's fire essence. He seemed to be talking to the 3 people around him or muttering to himself. In truth, it wasn't their fault that they didn't know anything. Planet 5 Elements had been closed off from the outside for a long time. Even Wang Lin's identity and cultivation level were only known due to the outer realm cultivators that had accidentally broken in. They didn't know enough and had only sent a few people out after the fact to investigate a bit more. They had learned more, but they didn't know about Wang Lin's essences. That's right, the earth spirit is gentler and not as fierce as the fire spirit. I'm sure he will be injured by the fire spirit. The middle-aged woman's eyes were vicious. She hated Situnan and hated anyone that knew Situnan. The other 2 people silently pondered. They looked at the mirror with fear in their eyes. These 2 were still rational and no longer dared to speak. Inside the fire formation, the fire raged. The moment Wang Lin entered, the sea of fire roared and a wave of fire rushed toward him. It closed in on him in an instant and 9 fire cheilants appeared. These fire cheilants were thousands of feet tall and were made of fire. There were also several balls of fire under their feet. These 9 cheilants had fierce expressions and rushed at Wang Lin from 9 different directions. This was a shocking scene. There was also a monstrous wave of fire behind the 9 cheilants, making them look even more fierce. Every cultivator on Planet 5 Elements revealed a cruel smile. Aside from the mirror that the black-robed old man was using to watch, there was also a vortex in the sky. The vortex revealed everything that was happening inside the formation. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Wang Lin was being viewed by tens of thousands. All the cultivators that had come out of the tower were looking at him. The black-robed old man clenched his fist as he looked at the mirror before him and said, "I want to see how he will resist. This time he will definitely be injured." However, just at this moment, the old man's expression changed greatly. At the same time, the middle-aged woman let out a sharp cry. "It's impossible." He. Shortly after, all the Gui sect cultivators watching the vortex in the sky exclaimed loudly. Inside the fire formation, Wang Lin calmly looked at the 9 fire cheilants charging at him. The cheilants stopped 100 feet away from Wang Lin with doubt in their eyes, and they soon began to shake. They knelt down on the ground and began to whimper. They no longer looked like cheilants but like kittens. They even looked happy, as if they had met their master. Even the fire behind it happily rotated around Wang Lin. The entire fire formation let out a thunderous roar as Wang Lin waved his right hand. Rumbles echoed and all the fire in the world gathered like crazy. In an instant, aside from the 9 cheilants and Wang Lin, all the fire gathered to form a giant tens of thousands of feet tall before Wang Lin. This giant wore a suit of armor made of fire and had a cape of fire. Its body gave off a powerful feeling. It was made completely out of fire, even its hair. After the fire giant appeared, it knelt down toward Wang Lin with one knee and its hands on its chest. Its expressionless face revealed a feverish amount of respect. What is the hell is going on? The fire spirit. The first spirit is actually kneeling before him. The black-robed old man in the tower turned pale as he looked at all of this, and his mind turned blank. There was also the middle-aged woman. Her face directly turned pale. She opened her mouth but ended up saying nothing. As she looked at Wang Lin through the mirror, her eyes were already filled with lingering fear. The two of them weren't the only ones in a daze. All the cultivators from the Guei sect looked at the scene before them and were dead silent. They were shocked when Wang Lin captured the earth spirit, but now they were seeing the fire spirit actually worshipping him. Wang Lin hadn't even said a word since he entered. He had just stood there. He stood there like a king that had just returned to his own kingdom, and with just a gaze, all of the people of the land knelt before him. This was beyond their imagination and was outside of their understanding, causing a powerful sense of fear and uneasiness. Na Duo and the middle-aged man silently pondered in the 10th floor. Na Duo's eyelids twitched and his expression gradually became gloomy. They looked at each other and saw the dread in each other's eyes. Others may not see the problem, but the two of them could. Na Duo slowly said, "Fire essence. Also, it has already reached its peak, allowing him to become the Lord of Fire. Otherwise, the fire spirit wouldn't worship him and reveal such a degree of reverence. The 5-element formation can't hold him. However, it doesn't seem like he will come out himself. I see that his intention is to take away the 5 spirits." Na Duo's gaze became cold. "We should lure him out. We can't afford to lose the other 3 spirits." The middle-aged man took a deep breath and stood up. He looked outside the tower. "I summon the ancestors' battle armor," the middle-aged man roared. Then a ray of blue light shot out from the top of the 10th floor. The light condensed around him and formed a water-blue armor around him. "The next formation is the water formation. I'll see if I can force him out from the formation into the 9 cycles." The middle-aged man raised his right hand and reached at the void. Water appeared and formed a lance in his hand. "Help me suppress the formation, I'll go first." The middle-aged man armed with the lance moved and disappeared into a mist of water vapor in the 10th floor. Inside the fire formation, as the fire giant bowed, Wang Lin calmly stepped forward. The giant allowed Wang Lin to step onto its hand and raised Wang Lin up to its head. Wang Lin walked off the hand and stood on the fire giant's head. Wang Lin raised his hand and pointed ahead. The giant suddenly stood up and let out a roar toward where Wang Lin pointed. As it roared, the 9 fire Qilins stood up and trembled. Their expression became fierce and they also roared. The people on planet 5 Elements felt their scalps go numb, and their hearts started beating violently when they saw where Wang Lin had pointed. Because in their eyes, Wang Lin was pointing toward the vortex at them. As a result, the giant and the 9 Qilins were roaring at the hundreds of cultivators around the tower, and the 4 people watching from the mirror inside the tower. Under this sudden roar, many of the cultivators around the tower subconsciously retreated, their faces turning pale. Blood flowed out of the mouths of the low-level cultivators. They retreated back far and sat down. Before their panicked gazes, Wang Lin was standing on the giant's head with the 9 Qilins following him. The giant stepped forward and waved its arm. With this wave, the world of the fire formation suddenly collapsed. Just as it collapsed, the image inside the vortex suddenly changed. What appeared before everyone was the sea. The sea was endless and its end could not be seen. The waves roared as if the heavens were roaring. The sky in this world was dim and filled with clouds. There was no lightning or thunder, but heavy rain was falling. This was a shocking image. Above the sea there were monstrous waves roaring. A handsome middle-aged man with black hair holding a blue lance appeared from the waves. He slowly raised up with the waves. 5-element celestial water general. It is our Guei sect's Lord Water General. Lord Water General is in closed-door cultivation most of the time. Now that he has appeared, the invader won't be able to survive the water formation. Lord Water General has a complete water spirit body, and when he is inside the formation, his power increases greatly. That despicable invader will die for sure. When the middle-aged man appeared, the surrounding Guei sect cultivators felt new strength injected into them and became excited. An old man who was at the mid-stage of Nirvana Cleanser let out a roar. "Fellow sect members of the Guei sect, someone has now provoked us. We treated him with respect, but he was arrogant to the extreme. He broke into our formation and even stole 2 of the 5 spirits. He is an invader, how can we let him in? The old man's voice was hoarse and his eyes were filled with hatred. That's right, this person is named Wang Lin and I know a bit about him. He is infamous outside Planet 5 Elements and is extremely cruel. Wherever he goes, all life is extinguished, and he leaves no one alive. Another person walked out and roared. Not long ago, I heard about a family named Tung on a cultivation planet. He caught the fancy of a treasure from their family and actually massacred the entire family, including the mortals. Not even the old or young were spared, and blood flowed like a river. I also know that our kind elder Na Duo met this Wang Lin while he was massacring mortals and taking advantage of female cultivators. He acted to intervene but didn't kill him, because it was difficult to cultivate. However, rather than being thankful after his cultivation level increased greatly, he is slaughtering his way to Planet 5 Elements. He says he is here to see Elder Na Duo but is in fact here to destroy our Gi sect. How can we let a shameless and despicable person like him enter Planet 5 Elements? This demonic cultivator should be killed by everyone. Killing him means saving countless people. Everyone, although our cultivation levels are low, we have more people and he is only one. Words like these became more and more common. Soon people who didn't know about Wang Lin at all began to believe these words. They looked at Wang Lin inside the vortex with anger and hatred. Wang Lin couldn't hear these words, but even if he could, he wouldn't care at all. At this moment, as he stood on the head of the fire giant, it walked out from the fire formation. Before him was the vast sea and rain falling from the sky. The rain fell on the fire giant and the 9 Xians, creating sizzling sounds. Among the 5 elements, water and fire could never coexist. Inside the water formation, the 9 Xians growled. Directly before Wang Lin, the black-haired middle-aged man stood on top of the rolling waves. He held the blue lance and wore armor as he coldly looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin! The moment Wang Lin looked over, the middle-aged man suddenly let out a roar. He jumped into the air and waves appeared under his feet. The wave came crashing in toward Wang Lin. Roars came from the sea around Wang Lin. Then 4 tall walls of water appeared, completely sealing Wang Lin inside. At the same time, the black-haired middle-aged man let out a roar and jumped into the air with his lance. He thrust this lance down at Wang Lin, who was trapped by the walls of water. His body moved with the lance and turned into a ray of blue light. As the man moved forward, the clouds in the sky became even more dense and rain began to fall. The rain formed a lance of water that followed after him. All of this happened too fast. The 9 Xians behind Wang Lin roared and rushed out toward the lance, but they were immediately drowned by the monstrous waves. Even Wang Lin's body and the giant fire giant were drowned by the sea when the wall of water collapsed and the water lance swept by. As Wang Lin was completely submerged by the sea, the lance formed by the rain also stabbed into the water. The sea roared and thunderous rumbles echoed, setting off monstrous waves. Wang Lin and the fire giant disappeared from the world. The only thing that remained was the handsome black-haired middle-aged man. The middle-aged man looked cold and proud as he slowly said, "Just this mere cultivation level. I'm the water spirit, so inside the formation I'm God. Your fire essence has no use here." As his words echoed, all the Gui sect cultivators around the tower cheered. Now that Lord Water General has come out, who can resist? No matter how powerful the vile one's fire is, it will be extinguished before Lord Water General. Lord Water General has already entered the legendary 3rd step. That damn invader, what qualification does he have to resist? Bursts of cheers came from the cultivators around the tower. The middle-aged man looked extremely smug as he held the lance in his hand and let out a roar. "Wang Lin, you're only injured. Get out here for me." Just as he finished speaking, a violent rumble came from the sea below. The sea water erupted into the air, and the curtains of water blocked the Water General's vision. The Water General was about to descend. However, at this moment, a cold voice came from behind him. "I'm here." The Water General's expression changed greatly and he turned around. Wang Lin stepped out from the water and his right hand hit the Water General. Wang Lin's essences and ancient power rushed into the Water General's body. His 5 organs collapsed, all his bones shattered. and his flesh and bones were almost separated. The water general coughed out blood and was thrown far away by the shockwave. Popping sounds came from his body and cracks appeared on his armor. However, the armor didn't collapse. Instead, a large amount of life force came out of the cracks and helped the water general recover from the fatal injuries. Wang Lin exclaimed softly and slowly walked out. Very strange armor. You haven't reached the third step, but with this suit of armor, you can display the strength of a third-step cultivator. However, the armor is filled with drawbacks. When you put it on, it is not you controlling the armor but the armor controlling you. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with bloodlines as the restriction essence caused everything he saw to change. He was able to see through the secret of the armor. His words were very casual, but they caused the water general to be filled with fear. At this moment, outside the 5 rings, the mysterious Grand Emperor Xian Luo stood there, watching everything. When he heard Wang Lin's words, Grand Emperor Xian Luo revealed a happy smile. So this child is called Wang Lin. Very good, very good. The Guei sect's armor is very famous even on the immortal astral continent. For him to be able to see through it, he is very good. The water general's terror was as big as the waves in the sea. This armor had been given to him by his ancestors. He had used the armor for a long time and slowly used his bloodline to fuse with it to make it his. Without this armor, he was only a 4th Heaven's Blight cultivator. With the armor, he could become a 3rd-step cultivator. However, the armor was extremely strange. Once he put it on, his mind would be limited and his body would be manipulated by the armor. He remembered that when the ancestor gave it to him, the ancestor said that even in the ancestral sect the armor was rare. It was very difficult to refine and wouldn't be handed out unless one achieved great merits or was going to some dangerous place. Every armor was very precious and could not be taken by an outsider. What caused the water general's heart to tremble was that Wang Lin's had attack caused cracks to appear on the armor, causing his entire body to shatter. If not for the armor sending out life force to save him, he would have already died. What terrified him the most was that with just one glance, Wang Lin was able to see through the secret of the armor. That kind of insight and power caused the water general to feel a chill in his heart. When Wang Lin glanced over, the water general saw the bloodlines in Wang Lin's eyes. Those bloodlines contained some kind of rule that caused him to lose himself for a moment. Take off the armor and I can spare you. At this moment, the water around Wang Lin and the water general fell, removing the water curtain that had been blocking everyone's vision. When the cultivators from the Gui sect saw the water general in such a sorry state, they were awakened from their previous joy and became silent. The water general's expression was extremely gloomy. Wang Lin's words caused his heart to beat violently. He clenched his teeth and held back the fear he felt. He then jumped backwards and put some distance between himself and Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was still the same as before as he coldly looked at the water general retreating. He saw the water general raise the water lance, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. Wang Lin wouldn't show any mercy to people not from the cave world. There was nothing to say to robbers. You're courting death. Wang Lin stepped forward toward the water general. The water general's face was pale and his eyes were filled with madness. He raised his right hand and threw the lance into the sea below. The water lance gave off a dazzling glow, causing the sea below to rumble. Whirlpools appeared in the sea below. With my water spirit body, gather the power of water. The water general coughed out a mouthful of blood at the sea below and his hands reached out toward the sea. With this, the waves rumbled as if there was a giant dragon moving below the sea. As his hands reached out, the entire sea seemed to boil and rise. From a distance, this was a shocking sense. The entire sea flew into the air toward Wang Lin. At the same time, the water general coughed out blood once more, revealing a tired and struggling expression. His left hand reached out at the sky. Clouds open and fog scatter. The light destroy all. Rain forms the sea. The water general's left hand rumbled and all the clouds collapsed. Another sea seemed to appear in the sky and suddenly fell down, connecting with the sea below. The two fused together to form a giant ball of water that floated there. This ball of water was turbid and had the color of the sea. Its size was endless, and at a glance it was impossible to see where it ended. It was like a small planet made of water. Drop of the universe. The water general clenched his teeth and completed the spell passed down by his ancestor. His flesh began to wither and his handsome face became filled with ugly pus. He could not have survived this long with his own life force, for heaven's blights had erupted in his body. With his talent he couldn't have passed them safely. He had only been able to survive due to the armor, but now he had used all the power inside the armor. Without the power from the armor protecting him, he returned to how he should look. Before him the giant ball of water rotated like crazy. As it rotated, it began to condense at a rapid rate. Every time it shrank one size, the pressure inside would increase countless fold. If the giant ball of water could be refined into one drop, even if there was a star system inside, it would collapse. This was the power of water, the power of the water essence. Wang Lin was inside the ball of water, watching the water move. The pressure from the water came from all directions and gave off a destructive aura that could destroy anything. Wang Lin's eyes shined as he stared at the water around him. His eyes revealed a strange light along with an extreme sense of excitement. This is the power of the water essence. The excitement in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger. It is very easy to leave this place, and even killing this water general would be easy. However, this is a great opportunity that is difficult to come by. By relying on the armor, the water general has created the water essence. This force is currently changing before me, and if I can comprehend it, I will no longer have 7 essences but 8. Just as Wang Lin had expected, this kind of thing was extremely rare, especially since the water essence the water general controlled was not ordinary. It had been formed by the Guei sect on the immortal astral continent through a special method. This water essence had been formed by peak comprehension of the water essence. This was the same as exposing everything before Wang Lin. It was even countless times more clear than a teacher passing down his teachings to a disciple. How could Wang Lin let an opportunity like this go? Although his talent was not excellent, his comprehension and insight were extremely strong. Otherwise, he would have never obtained essences. Also, it wasn't as if Wang Lin had never encountered the water essence before. Back when the heaven-defying bead needed to absorb water, and when the All-Seer gave him the drop of water essence, Wang Lin had the guidance to walk down the path of water essence. The excitement in Wang Lin's eyes reached a peak. He didn't waste any time and immediately sat down inside the rapidly condensing ball of water. His eyes revealed a strange light as he watched all the changes happening inside the water before him. These changes looked like they had no pattern, but when the bloodlines appeared in Wang Lin's eyes, he gradually found some clues. His eyes shined with excitement as he rapidly memorized the changes in the water essence. Aside from Wang Lin, it was difficult for others to notice. The water general didn't notice it at all. His expression was fierce and he also had a hint of excitement in his eyes. He stared at the ball of water and his hands continued to form seals, causing the water essence to become stronger and the water to shrink faster. In just half an incense stick of time, the water went from an endless size to mere hundreds of thousands feet. The essence inside this hundreds of thousands feet ball of water became even stronger as the sea water and rain condensed. Even if your cultivation is heaven-defying, with his drop of the universe, the power of my spell has increased greatly. I'll squeeze you into one drop and refine you to your death. The water general formed seals like crazy and hit the ball of water. Every hit caused the power of the armor to ripple through the water and to shrink faster. Wang Lin almost felt gratitude toward the water general. The water general's actions were allowing Wang Lin to see even more changes in the water essence and comprehend it even better. The hundreds of thousands of feet of water shrank down about half down to 200,000 feet. The water general looked excited but gasped rapidly as if he was out of power. The water general looked up at the sky and let out a roar. "Na Duo, help me!" After he roared, a vortex appeared in the sky. The power of metal came out and immediately spread out. The metal water of the 5 elements. People had different opinions about how the metal water came to be. Some say that it was metal melted into water. Others believe that water would naturally gather on metal after the metal has been exposed for a long period of time. But whatever was the real truth, it made all the ancient sages believe that metal could give birth to water. This was indeed the truth. The moment the metal element arrived, the water around Wang Lin shrank even more rapidly. The water general's laughter became a sneer. Wang Lin, you're dead. At this moment, outside Planet 5 Elements, the mysterious Grand Emperor Xian Luo's eyes revealed a strange light. Looking at what was happening, he didn't know what to say. Aside from the strange light from his eyes, he didn't know if he should cry or laugh. How is this refining him? It is clearly helping him comprehend the water essence. This child has the ancient Tao bloodline but also spells from the celestials. This is extremely rare. And he actually has 7 essences inside his body. This is extraordinary. The use of the bloodlines in one's eyes to contain the restriction essence. I have never seen anyone do that before. Ancient and celestial duo cultivation. As the water general sneered with excitement, on the 10th floor, Na Duo, who had sent out the metal element, also smiled. He was still observing this battle with divine sense, and his smile was very wide. He didn't think Wang Lin could walk out, because the water essence inside the ball of water was so dense that even he felt it was terrifying. This water essence was not from by the water general but the armor. It was precisely because of this that Na Duo was even more confident. I thought he had some heaven-breaking method, but he is only this strong. If he could come out, he would have come out when the ball of water formed. I presume now he must be feeling despair inside there. Wang Lin, there is no feud between us, and I really don't want to kill you, but you are a cultivator of the cave world. We are different from you. You must have come here with a purpose. The cave world is a mess right now, and several forces are looking for the third soul. For you to come now, the purpose is obvious. As Na Duo pondered, his smile widened. Also inside the tower, the black-robed old man and company stared at the mirror. The black-robed old man's eyes were filled with excitement as he laughed. This Wang Lin was so arrogant before. Now that Lord Water General has come, I want to see how he escapes. A drop of the universe is a grand spell of the Gui sect. This person is dead. The middle-aged woman also looked happy as she stared at the ball of water inside the mirror. Hatred filled her eyes. Die. Once you die, that Situ Nan will be sad. The more angry he is, the better I feel. Situ Nan, you're next. The middle-aged woman let out a shrill laughter. Even the 2 cultivators beside them that had been calm slowly smiled. He can't escape anymore. At the same time, outside the tower, endless cheers continued. All the Gui sect cultivators looked at the sky with excitement in their eyes. They looked at the shrinking ball of water as if they could see Wang Lin's painful expression and hear his miserable cries. The water general was the most excited. He continued to wave his hand, and the ball of water continued to condense. The ball of water was now less than 100,000 feet wide, and was shrinking even faster. The water was turbid and rumbles came from it. It was the sound of the water condensing, and was like the song of the heavens to the water general. It's too slow. I need to be a bit faster to not prevent any accidents. For some reason, although the water general was excited, as the ball of water got smaller, he suddenly had a terrifying feeling. This feeling came so suddenly even he was puzzled. However, this confusion made him worried, and the only thing he could do was make the ball of water condense even faster. His hands formed a seal and he spit out a mouthful of blood. His body weakened greatly, but the blood caused the ball of water to shrink from 100,000 feet to 70,000 feet. This sudden change caused rumbles to come from Wang Lin inside the ball of water. His body became distorted, but his eyes were filled with excitement. Wang Lin was comprehending all the changes inside this water essence. It seemed the changes had reached their limit and were slowing down. Wang Lin felt like the water had no more power to cause the water essence to change. It was as if Wang Lin was learning a secret, but the second half had just disappeared. This feeling of being left hanging made him feel very uncomfortable. Just as he frowned, the blood from the water general caused the water to change once more. Wang Lin almost wanted to laugh. He could never forget the gift the water general had given him. How could Wang Lin kill someone who had given him something the moment he wanted it? What made Wang Lin even more excited was what the water general said next. Na Duo and all Gui sect disciples, send your divine sense into the formation. Help me refine it into 1 drop in 3 breaths. Na Duo's hands formed a seal and golden light shined, forming a suit of armor around him. He stepped out from the tower with the armor around him. Send your divine senses into the formation. Today my Gui sect willed remove a demon from this world. Na Duo roared as his hands formed a seal. His divine sense rushed toward the vortex in the sky. There were always those that liked to make others out to be evil so they could be on the side of righteousness. They would slander and spread rumors about others. It was as if they couldn't display their full strength if they didn't do this. It was obvious Na Duo was this kind of person, and most of the Gui sect was also like this. At the same time, the hundreds of Gui sect cultivators sat down without hesitation, and their divine senses flew into the sky. The divine senses were invisible, but they caused the sky to distort. The divine senses entered the vortex and appeared inside the water formation. Hundreds of divine senses entered and used their full power on the ball of water. They began to squeeze the ball of water like crazy. In particular, Na Duo's power increased greatly after putting on the armor. The old man in the black robe and the other three also erupted their full cultivation. As the water condensed rapidly, it rumbled and shrank down to 30,000 feet. Wang Lin was inside and his eyes were filled with excitement as he comprehended the changes in the water essence. The Gui sect going all out and causing the water essence to change rapidly allowed Wang Lin to see almost all of it. I somewhat understand. Just a bit more, a bit more. Wang Lin's hands subconsciously formed seals to imitate the changes in the water essence. Just at this moment, the second wave of pressure squeezed down on the ball of water, causing it to rapidly shrink from 30,000 feet to 20,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 5,000 feet, until it was only 2,000 feet. It was still shrinking. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with enlightenment. His left hand was still subconsciously imitating, while his right hand waved at the void. The drop of water essence he had obtained from the All-Seer appeared in his hand. I understand. Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and the drop of water essence in his hand shined brightly. It began to rotate. And as the crystal light shined, the drop of water looked like a crystal. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly as he spoke softly. Water essence, 380 million changes to condense. The moment he said this, the 2,000-foot ball of water violently trembled like never before as if it was going to collapse. The powerful aura of the water essence erupted. At the same time, outside the ball of water, the water general formed a seal and, along with Na Duo and rest of the Gui sect cultivators, gathered their divine senses to squeeze the ball of water one last time. 2,000 feet. His body should have collapsed. Let us crush his origin soul. Condense him into one drop of the universe. The fused divine senses rushed toward the ball of water. However, before the divine senses could do anything, the ball of water shrank rapidly by itself, startling everyone. This startled Na Duo and caused the water general to tremble. Everyone was completely stunned. The 2,000-foot ball of water shrank down to 500 feet, and then instantly down to 50 feet. This clearly revealed Wang Lin and his excited expression. This scene was like a thunderous rumble that exploded in their minds, causing their minds to turn blank. Forget them, even if it was someone else, they wouldn't be able to accept this. They watched the 50-foot ball of water condense into the crystal in Wang Lin's hand, and then watched the crystal disappear without a trace. They also watched Wang Lin slowly stand up and reveal a smile. He clasped his hands and bowed at everyone who was completely stunned. Such a great favor, please accept my bow. After Wang Lin finished bowing, he waved his sleeve. With this, the world changed colors and the clouds scattered. All the divine senses, including Na Duo's, were blown out from the formation. Only the water general and Wang Lin remain inside the formation. You! The water general's body trembled as he coughed out blood. He retreated with a miserable smile. On planet 5 Elements, all the cultivators outside the tower trembled and opened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with horror and disbelief, as well as an endless sense of fear that drowned them. There was no uproar, only a deadly silence. It was as if someone had frozen the Gui sect. How can this be? How can this be? Na Duo was filled with confusion. He still couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. He took away the earth spirit and caused the fire spirit to worship him. He even took away the drop of the universe formed by the water essence. After a long time, the cultivators here seemed to awaken from the terror. An uproar suddenly echoed. Everyone exclaimed in shock without exception. How did he do it? This is simply too unimaginable. It's impossible. Could it be that he was comprehending inside the water? What kind of terrifying comprehension and cunning did that require? The black-robed old man and the middle-aged woman could not understand this drastic change. In particular, the black-robed old man couldn't say a word and his eyes were filled with monstrous fear. Wang Lin ignored the retreating water general, who was filled with disbelief. He closed his eyes and slowly felt the drop of the universe he had obtained. This eighth essence was the water essence, but it wasn't complete inside Wang Lin. Just like the fire essence, it needed to be fused many times to reach completion. This was the difference between ethereal and corporeal essences. Ethereal essences only needed to be comprehended to become complete. However, this comprehension was much more difficult. This could be seen from Wang Lin's life and death, karma, and true and false essences. In contrast, corporeal essences were easier in comparison. Wang Lin's fire and thunder essences only required a seed. Then he just had to strengthen it until essence appeared. Right now what was inside Wang Lin was the seed of the water essence. With this essence, Wang Lin could slowly make it reach completion. Essences were difficult to complete, and creating the seed was even harder. If Wang Lin hadn't devoured the ancient thunder dragon and the eternal thunder from the scattered thunder clan, the thunder seed won't had appeared. The fire essence was the same. If he hadn't awakened the vermilion bird many times, he wouldn't have obtained the fire seed. Now the drop of the universe was like the ancient thunder dragon and eternal thunder, or even the vermilion bird awakening. It gave Wang Lin the water seed. This was what excited Wang Lin the most. There was nothing free without hard work. Everything had to obtain step by step. As for the earth spirit, Wang Lin had absorbed it from the earth formation, but it was far from enough to form the earth seed. Maybe if there was someone with the earth armor to reveal the earth essence for him to comprehend, then a seed might appear. This kind of thing could only be wished but not forced. Wang Lin understood this well. Feeling the vitality from the water seed, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His gaze toward the water general was no longer cold but completely calm. The moment Wang Lin opened his eyes, the water general seemed to awaken from his shock. He retreated like crazy and after 7 or 8 steps he was about to run. However, he had been so generous to Wang Lin, so how could Wang Lin let him leave like this? Wang Lin's right hand reached forward and a giant hand appeared from the void. The hand grabbed the retreating water general. As the water general struggled, Wang Lin withdrew his right hand and the giant hand brought the water general back to him. Wang Lin's right index finger stretched out and pointed to the spot between the eyebrows of the water general. The water general's face was distorted with pain and looked like a dried-up lamp. His life force and soul had already fused with the armor around him. He borrowed the power of the armor and the armor used him as nutrients. This relationship had been maintained for a long time, but now that the water general was weak, the situation was fatal. The armor would suck away the last of his life force. Wang Lin's finger entered and a powerful force rushed out from his body, entering the water general's body. It formed a barrier that completely separated the water general's body and soul from the armor. Since you gifted me the water seed, I won't kill you and I'll save you once. This is my principle. Wang Lin lifted his finger. The armor around the water general trembled and was forcibly removed. The fragments scattered in all directions. There was a line of blood connecting each fragment of the armor to the water general even though the fragments had scattered far away. The current water general looked very creepy. This terrifying scene caught the attention of all the horrified Guei sect cultivators. Watching this strange scene, a chill appeared in their hearts. The water general's armor was taken off. At the same time, waves of miserable screams came from the water general. The pain almost completely drowned him, but he couldn't pass out and could only endure the pain. However, he also knew that Wang Lin was not torturing him but saving him. If he didn't take off the armor, he would without a doubt die. After all, he had used a lot of power, and in order to kill Wang Lin, he had activated an amount of power he couldn't withstand from the armor. If he had refined Wang Lin, he would have been fine after absorbing that drop of water, but he had ended up in this current state. A large amount of red lines connected the water general and armor fragments. The lines moved with the fragments, and the water general's miserable screams continued to echo. Wang Lin's expression became serious as he stared at the water general. His eyes shined as he began to deduce the armor. After a while, he raised his right hand and the blood sword appeared. It flew forward and cut the red lines connecting the water general and the armor. Popping sounds echoed and all the lines connecting to the water general shattered and returned to the fragments. The armor had been completely separated from the water general. After scattering, the fragments strangely gathered and reformed the armor, but it had a lot of cracks. It fell to the ground. The armor made it look as if someone was sitting there and emitting dark blue water light. A lance appeared from the blue light and fell into the arms of the armor. After the armor was taken off, the water general coughed out a large amount of blood mist. His body was extremely weak as he staggered back. He looked at Wang Lin with a complicated gaze. Wang Lin looked at the armor and slowly said, "You can go, I won't kill you." The water general pondered a bit and opened his mouth to say something, but in the end he said nothing. He was exhausted as he took a step backward and disappeared from the water formation. Wang Lin's right hand reached toward the armor to take it to study when he suddenly looked up. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes. He stepped forward without hesitation, and at the same time, ripples came from the water formation. Powerful pressure came from the ripples, and the world suddenly collapsed. This collapse was too sudden. When the water formation collapsed, a powerful pressure descended. This pressure was too strong, as if this area couldn't withstand it. Ripples echoed behind the armor and a vortex appeared. A dried-up arm came from the vortex and reached for the armor. At the same time, a grim and old voice came from the vortex, and this sound went directly toward Wang Lin's mind. "This is not something you can possess, scram for this old man." Wang Lin wasn't caught completely unaware of the sudden change. The step he had taken before the water formation collapsed allowed him to reach top speed in an instant. His 7 essences suddenly merged into his powerful late-stage spirit void cultivation and erupted from his body. The moment his step landed, Wang Lin's ancient Tao power entered every inch of his flesh and bones. This allowed his body to crush a cultivation planet. Wang Lin's full power erupted in full. It was like a storm of destruction had appeared. Wang Lin's momentum was on full swing. His step landed the moment the vortex appeared and the arm came out. He did not land in the void but on the arm, and he mercilessly stomped. All of this happened in an instant, too fast for anyone to retreat. Wang Lin's right foot moved like lightning, containing the power of the ancient Tao as it descended. The old voice exclaimed and the arm rapidly changed directions. His arm tried to form a spell to defend, but he obviously didn't expect Wang Lin to react so fast and be so vicious. Wang Lin's right hand mercilessly landed on his arm. With a bang, there was also the sound of bones shattering mixed in. The arm became twisted and swelled up. The arm quickly retracted into the vortex, but it exploding and blood splattered everywhere. "You dare to steal something from me? Are you tired of living?" Wang Lin stood behind the armor, and his gaze was as cold as ice as he looked at the vortex. He casually waved his left hand and the water blue armor and lance were taken by Wang Lin. Everything that had happened was done in one smooth motion, from taking the step to breaking the arm and taking the armor. He gave off the aura of a master of the generation, cultivator of the ancient country. "You're a member of the ancient clan." A nearly distorted voice filled with pain came from the vortex. This scene was seen by Grand Emperor Xian Luo outside the planet. He revealed a proud smile and a tyrannical expression. "Good, indeed, a child of my ancient Tao clan. This is the best way to deal with people who dare to offend the ancient Tao. If he did less, I would be somewhat dissatisfied. This is very similar to my temper. If it was me, I would have cut his claws off. Guei sect, the group of celestials that came here is interesting." Grand Emperor Xian Luo casually looked at the tower. If he wanted, he could wave his hand and all life on the planet would disappear. Putting away the water general's armor, Wang Lin's eyes were cold like ice. He looked at the vortex and his hand reached toward it. At the same time, bright, golden light came from the vortex like sharp swords. It collided with Wang Lin's right hand. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the water formation. Wang Lin retreated 3 steps and withdrew his right hand. His expression didn't change at all, it was still extremely cold. The vortex collapsed under the impact and exploded into specks of crystals. It disappeared without a trace. On Planet 5 Elements, the 9th floor of the tower was giving off a golden glow. Inside sat an old man wearing a golden shirt with lifelike patterns embroidered on it. At this moment, the old man trembled and coughed out blood. His right hand was bruised and dark. It was also at a weird angle and was obviously broken. Large amounts of blood flowed out from his right arm and dripped on the ground. A member of the ancient clan, the power of his body belongs to the ancient Dao clan. He doesn't seem to be a descendant created from Yimo's 3,000 drops of blood. Yimo's descendant couldn't be as strong as him. This person is likely not someone from the cave. He came from the immortal astral continent. Damn it, someone else is here besides my Gui sect. The old man's pupils shrank and his eyes were filled with pain. He looked at his right hand with horror and pain in his eyes. What a vicious step. If not for the armor, my arm would have shattered and even my body would have exploded. The old man's face was extremely gloomy as he faced the outside of the tower and roared, "Na Duo, come and see me." When the old man's voice came out of the 9th floor of the tower, the hearts of all the cultivators outside the tower trembled. All the uproar stopped and they knelt toward the tower. Na Duo's eyes twitched and he jumped toward the 9th floor without hesitation. He stopped outside and was about to speak when a giant hand grabbed him and pulled him in. Na Dao didn't dare to resist, allowing the giant hand to drag him into the tower. After he entered, he immediately knelt on the ground and spoke respectfully. "Junior Na Duo greets 9th ancestor." The old man in the golden robe looked at Na Duo and roared, "Who is he? How did you provoke such a person?" Hearing the old man's words, Na Duo raised his head to speak, but when he saw the blood the old man had coughed out, his heart trembled. Then he saw the old man's right arm, and a monstrous wave was set off in his heart. He knew the ancestor had acted, but not only had the ancestor not gained the advantage, he had been injured by Wang Lin. His body trembled and he quickly spilled everything he knew without hiding anything. As Na Duo spoke, inside the 5-element formation the water formation collapsed. Wang Lin could have left, but he chose not to. He stepped forward and there was a dazzling glow as a new world appeared before him. The gentle wind blew by. The fragrance that the breeze brought would make anyone feel calm. It was a dense jungle here with no end in sight. The towering trees were like swords that pierced the clouds, and the leaves formed patches of shade. 5-element wood formation. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked around, and he gradually smiled. On this trip to Planet 5 Elements, ignoring the main objective, just this 5 elements formation had given Wang Lin a great fortune. How could Wang Lin let the wood formation go? He charged forward. However, as soon as Wang Lin moved, all the trees in the jungle trembled. All the leaves fell off due to some mysterious force and flew toward Wang Lin. There were too many leaves, enough to cover the sky and earth. They were locked on to Wang Lin as if they were trying to take his soul away. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all as he retreated 3 steps. His right hand formed a fist and coldness appeared in his eyes. He suddenly clawed at the space before him. Heaven ripping. This tear caused the clouds to scatter. Then a loud tearing sound echoed. A giant rift was torn open in the world, and it connected the sky and earth. It felt like it was going to tear the world in half. In truth, the world before Wang Lin was split in half. The center of the rift led into the dark void. At this moment, it rapidly expanded as if the night was devouring the day. But just this wasn't enough to display the power of heaven ripping. The countless leaves were all torn along with the world. All the leaves split in half, revealing the lines that connected the 2 sides of each leaf. All the leaves coming from all directions were ripped apart like this. When the heaven ripping came from Wang Lin's right hand, a thunderous rumble echoed as if the wood formation was going to collapse. All the leaves closing in on Wang Lin split in half and moved by his sides, colliding with the leaves coming from the opposite direction. From afar, Wang Lin's figure looked to be drowned by the collision of the leaves. A moment later, Wang Lin walked out of the darkness. Behind him, the rift grew bigger like a large mouth. The collapsed leaves created a mass of chaos. It was like the end of the world. Just as Wang Lin walked out, the trees that had lost all their leaves began to move strangely. Under Wang Lin's gaze, the trees all began to extend and intersect with each other. Soon, the trees extended and grew to form a giant face. Surrender or be destroyed. Wang Lin's white hair gently fluttered behind him along with his white robe. He stared at the face of the tree on the ground. The face in the forest silently pondered, and after a long time, it slowly closed its ancient eyes. At this moment, bright green light gathered between its eyebrows. It formed a green crystal that shot toward Wang Lin. It floated before Wang Lin and he picked it up with his right hand. When he put it away, all the trees moved back to their original positions. Wang Lin no longer looked down but stepped forward, and the world around him distorted until it all collapsed. The wood formation rapidly dissipated and the last formation appeared. The metal formation. The metal formation was filled with the power of metal, and the smell of killing intent was dense in the metal world. There was no earth here. Instead, there were large swords filled with the power of metal and killing intent. There were no clouds or sun in the sky, only endless swords hanging upside down in the air. Those countless swords buzzed the moment Wang Lin appeared. This was a sword hymn. All the swords hymned at the same time. Metal was no wood. Wood could be soft, which was why Wang Lin had given the wood spirit that had gained intelligence a chance to choose. Metal was different. Metal would always be straight and never yield. At this moment, the sword hymn echoed and all the swords shot out. The millions of swords all flew toward Wang Lin. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the violent sounds became the only sounds that existed, and they lingered for a long time. On Planet 5 Elements, in the 9th floor of the tower, after Na Duo had spoken of everything he knew about Wang Lin, the old man was still gloomy. He still didn't believe that Wang Lin was not someone from the immortal astral continent. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly looked outside the tower. His expression was filled with killing intent. He has broken the metal formation. He is going to enter the 9 cycles. The old man in the golden robe stood up. His eyes were filled with coldness and killing intent. Na Duo hesitated and asked, "Ancestor, can our Planet 5 Elements' most powerful 9-cycle heart, will formation stop this person?" The 9-cycle heart wheel, 9 breaths for 1 cycle. The faster one's heart moves, the faster it turns. It is difficult to say. This formation can be difficult and can be simple. It is one of the protection formations of the Gue sect on the immortal astral continent. Although this formation only has 40% of its power, as long as he can't see through the formation and it rotates even a bit, he won't be able to break through. Everything will depend on whether his heart moves or not, the ancestor muttered, but his words were too mysterious. Na Duo listened but didn't understand much, but he didn't ask more. Instead, he looked into the sky outside the tower. Inside the formation, thunderous rumble echoed and the metal formation collapsed. Wang Lin walked out from inside. He could now see Planet 5 Elements not far away. It seemed as if he only needed to take one step to enter Planet 5 Elements. Behind Wang Lin was the 5 Elements formation that was disintegrating. Staring at Planet 5 Elements, he was about to enter, but he suddenly stopped. He exclaimed softly and his eyes lit up. In his view, the planet had actually moved. It began to slowly rotate. The moment Wang Lin saw the planet rotate, on the 9th floor of the tower, the gloominess on the old man in the gold robe's face disappeared and was replaced with a smile. 9-cycle heart wheel. Even on the immortal astral continent, very few people can break it. The focus of this formation is the heart. The faster one's heart moves, the more difficult it becomes to break. You said that this person was very cunning and / very intelligent. It has been many years, and not only did he not die, but his cultivation level has increased greatly. He must have experienced many life and death situations, and his mind has been honed to be like that of a demon. The smarter the person, the more difficult it is for them to break free. This is only the first cycle. The later it becomes, the more killing potential it has. Once it reaches 9 cycles, he will be trapped there for life until his mental energy has been exhausted and he dies. When Nado heard this, he smiled. He clasped his hands at the old man and said, "With the ancestor here, this person cannot escape." The old man in the golden robe laughed and looked at this right arm. There was a hint of viciousness in his gaze. Even now, his right arm still felt pain. Even when he used his celestial energy, it wasn't able to alleviate all the pain. Outside the planet, Grand Emperor Xian Luo, who had been observing this whole time, narrowed his eyes. This 9-cycle heart wheel's power is average, but it is difficult for those who don't understand it to break it. I fear this child can't break out. Forget it, I'll watch for a bit longer. If he is really trapped, I'll save him. Grand Emperor Xian Luo gently shook his head. He didn't expect Wang Lin to break the famous Gui sect formation, but there was a sliver of expectation in his heart. However, this expectation was very weak. When he noticed this sliver of expectation, he even laughed. I shouldn't expect too much. Even if this generation's emperor charged into this formation without any knowledge beforehand, he would be trapped. Wang Lin's expression was serious as he looked at Planet 5 Elements. However, the more he looked, the faster it rotated. At the start it was rotating slowly, but now it was several times faster. As it rotated, Wang Lin felt a stinging pain in his eyes and got a sense of vertigo. In those few breaths, his mental energy was rapidly consumed. This discovery made Wang Lin's heart tremble, and he didn't hesitate to close his eyes. However, even with his eyes closed, his divine sense still saw the planet rotate without pause. What kind of formation is this? Wang Lin's eyes suddenly opened, and his expression was gloomy. Whether he looked or not, his eyes opened or closed, or even if he looked in another direction, the planet was still rotating. Soon 9 breaths passed, and on the 10th breath, the planet started to rotate even faster. This made Wang Lin feel vertigo even more, and his mental energy began to be exhausted at a rapid rate. Wang Lin had never experienced this kind of thing in his life. He couldn't understand what was happening. What kind of restrictions existed inside this formation? There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. He stepped forward with no hesitation. Even if this planet is strange, it is still not far from me. I'll simply ignore it and enter the planet. Wang Lin moved very fast and crossed an endless distance with one step. However, after this step, Wang Lin's pupils shrank. He found that he had walked in place instead of moving toward the planet. The distance between them hadn't changed and the planet was still rotating. It was as if the planet had moved as well. Wang Lin silently pondered. At this moment, the second set of 9 breaths passed and the third cycle began. The planet started rotating even faster, becoming blurry in Wang Lin's eyes. What kind of formation is this? So strange. Wang Lin's heart felt irritated as the planet continued to rotate. This irritation didn't come suddenly. It felt like it had always been there. However, the moment this irritation appeared, the rotation of the planet suddenly became faster. This increase in speed caused the planet to become much more blurry. Right now it looked like the planet had begun a giant cyclone. Wang Lin's face turned slightly pale and he couldn't suppress the irritation in his heart. It became stronger and stronger, and the rotation of the planet became faster and faster as well. Something isn't right. Wang Lin rapidly retreated. However, no matter how fast he retreated, the distance between him and Planet 5 Elements didn't increase at all. This strange change shocked Wang Lin's heart, and the irritation in his heart became even stronger. At this moment, the 4th set of 9 breaths passed, and the planet entered its 5th cycle. The moment it entered the 5th cycle, due to Wang Lin's irritation, Planet 5 Elements no longer looked like a planet. It had completely changed into a circle of vortexes that rotated rapidly. Wang Lin's body trembled and his chest felt stuffy. As the planet rotated, Wang Lin felt like the world was spinning. It was as if the only one not spinning was himself. However, this made Wang Lin feel as if he didn't belong here. It made him feel irritated. The sense of vertigo was painful for Wang Lin, making him want to vomit. He staggered back and his face became deathly pale. His eyes were completely bloodshot. As he stared at the vortex on top of irritation, madness appeared in his eyes. However, the moment the madness appeared, the speed of the vortex increased greatly. Wang Lin's feet became unstable, and he started rotating along with it without him being aware of it. In the 9th floor of the tower, the old man in the golden robe looked at this and laughed. His eyes were filled with cruelty and joy. He looked outside the tower with contempt and disdain. It has already entered the 5th cycle, he can't escape. Even if I went inside, I wouldn't be able to enter after the 5th cycle. He can only have his mind be exhausted by the formation and have all his life force wasted. This person wants to break into my Planet 5 Elements? He is simply too arrogant. Na Duo also smiled, but there was still lingering fear in his eyes. He didn't know as much about the 9-cycle heart wheel as the old man, but he had stepped into it himself a long time ago. He was well aware of the terror of this formation. He entered a coma in the third cycle and was saved by the ancestor. It took a long time for him to recover. After that, he only felt awe and fear toward this formation. Outside the planet, Grand Emperor Xian Luo gently shook his head and let out a sigh. Still not as good as expected. Even if there is only a little bit of expectation, it can turn into disappointment. It is still rare for him to last 5th cycles. I'll let him experience it a bit more, and when it enters the 9th cycle I'll act. Grand Emperor Xian Luo still felt some disappointment, but he understood that if he had rushed into this famous formation without any knowledge before he became a Grand Emperor, he would be in a similar state. Wang Lin's face was deathly pale. In the 9th breath of the 9th cycle, he coughed out blood. This was caused by the exhaustion of his mind. His body began to slowly rotate, but he stopped it by force. The veins on his face bulged, and irritation and madness filled his mind. He stared at the vortex that was about to reach the limit of its rotation and stood there motionless. He knew that whether he liked or not, the vortex would still be there. He understood that whether he thought about it or not, the vortex would still be there. He was aware that if his body rotated with the planet, his mind would be pulled inside. Once his mind had been completely exhausted, the only thing awaiting him would be death. Every 9 breaths, the rotation of the planet suddenly increases. Wang Lin endured the vertigo and pain as he forced his mind to calm down to think. 9 breaths for one change. The moment I became irritated, the rotation intensified. The moment the madness appeared, the rotation became faster. The more Wang Lin pondered and thought, the faster the rotation became, making it almost impossible for him to think. He stared at the vortex, and the more he couldn't calm down, the more he thought. He needed to find out the cause for everything to be spinning. Soon the 6th set of 9's breath passed, the 7th and the 8th flashed by. In the 9th floor of the tower, the old man laughed as he waved his sleeve. He took Na Duo outside the tower and stood in the sky. The 9th cycle, this person is dead for sure. Na Duo, follow this old man to collect his body. The old man in the golden robe laughed and was about to walk forward. However, his laughter suddenly stopped and his eyes became filled with disbelief. It slowed down. The rotation slowed down. Impossible, this is the 9th turn, this? Na Duo was also terrified. He was originally smiling, but that smile quickly turned into fear. Similarly, outside the planet, Grand Emperor Xian Luo was shaking his head and suppressing the disappointment in his heart. He was about to wave his right hand, but just as he lifted his hand, he stopped. His eyes shined and he lowered his right hand. His ancient heart began to beat. Inside the formation, when the first breath of the 9th cycle arrived, Wang Lin suddenly closed his eyes. Heart stirred. My heart was stirred. My heart was stirred, and as a result my body, soul and everything including the planet is moving. All of this is happening because my heart is not calm. The bloodlines in Wang Lin's eyes disappeared and the madness faded. All irritations disappeared and his heart was as calm as the water. The 9th cycle's first breath. Wang Lin closed his eyes. He tried using the true and false essence, but it had no effect, as if it was gone. Here where it was true or false, everything depended on his heart. If Wang Lin's heart had been triggered, then everything would move. The moment Wang Lin closed his eyes, he suddenly reopened them. They were as calm as water. He understood that everything was merely a trial for his heart. As long as his heart was calm, the world would be calm. However, it was difficult to calm his heart, especially with all the irritations around him. Although he looked calm now, he hadn't completely calmed down yet. Right now he had only calmed his body. As Wang Lin's body gradually calmed down, the planet before him suddenly slowed down from its rapid vortex state. This change was really obvious, and it was several times slower in an instant. The 9th cycle's second breath. After his body calmed down, the planet's rotation suddenly slowed down. Although the planet was still a vortex, the dizziness, nauseousness, and madness all died down as if cold water had been poured on his heart. This allowed his heart to show signs of completely calming down. As a result, Wang Lin's soul calmed down. With his soul calm, the planet's vortex slowed down by several times. It seemed to stagger between being a planet and a vortex. It seemed almost unable to keep up its vortex-like state that made you dizzy. The ninth cycle's third breath. The moment the third breath passed, after Wang Lin's body and soul calmed down, his origin soul also calmed down. With his origin soul calm, Wang Lin felt like he was floating there with his white hair fluttering. His face was no longer pale and was simply calm. In his view, Planet 5 Element's rotation slowed down even more, and it was no longer a vortex. It had returned to the appearance of a planet, and although he still couldn't see the scenery on the planet clearly, he could detect the speed with just his eyes. Looking at Planet 5 Elements, Wang Lin slowly smiled. This smile was very peaceful, without any anger. It was as if he had seen through everything. Time went by. The fourth, fifth, and sixth breaths of the ninth cycle passed. At this moment it was completely silent on Planet 5 Elements. All the cultivators looked at the sky with indescribable shock in their eyes. In particular, the old man in the golden robe's face was pale as he murmured something. He still couldn't believe what he was seeing. This was beyond his imagination and expectations. In his mind, this was impossible. He didn't belong to the cave world. He was from the Guei sect on the immortal astral continent. He was far too aware of the terror and power of the nine-cycle heart wheel formation. This formation was famous on the immortal astral continent. He never thought that a cave world cultivator would show signs of breaking the formation in such a short period of time. Although the formation here was much weaker than the one on the immortal astral continent, this was a real nine-cycle heart wheel formation. This is impossible. Even if he was able to comprehend the formation, it had already reached the ninth cycle. Time is limited, and it's impossible for his heart to calm down in time during the ninth cycle. The old man in the golden robe clenched his fist and muttered words he wasn't certain about. Beside him, Na Duo revealed fear in his eyes as he noticed the change where Wang Lin was. He was far too aware of the strangeness of the formation. He gasped and wasn't able to say a word for a long time. Huge waves set off his head, and he felt an inexplicable fear toward Wang Lin. Outside Planet 5 Elements, Grand Emperor Xian Luo's eyes revealed a strange light as he looked at Wang Lin. The light in his eyes grew brighter and brighter. He had seen everything Wang Lin had done, and his heart began beating rapidly. Because he couldn't calm down in an instant, he first calmed his body, using his body as an anchor to calm his soul. Then he used his soul as a guide to calm his origin soul. His origin soul then seized the heart and calmed it down. As a result of the body, soul, and origin soul calming down, the heart would naturally calm down. It's rare for someone to think of such a method in such a short period of time. Such comprehension is rare. I'll take this child as my disciple. Grand Emperor Xian Luo revealed excitement rarely shown even in 10,000 years. The ninth cycle's eighth breath. Wang Lin's heart completely calmed down at this moment. He stood there with a smile on his face. The rotation of Planet 5 Elements had slowed down to the point where it could hardly be noticed. The planet appeared clearly before Wang Lin. When the ninth breath arrived, Planet 5 Elements no longer rotated at all, and completely stopped in Wang Lin's eyes. If he wanted to, he only needed to take one step forward to walk out of the nine-cycle heart wheel and enter the planet, but he didn't do so. Throughout his life, after suffering a loss, he always got his payback. He had nearly died due to his mental energy being drained just now, and if he simply endured it, he wouldn't be Wang Lin. I don't know the name of this formation, but it changes every 9 breaths, and now it has changed a total of 9 times. After each change it rotates even faster, so it wouldn't be wrong to call it the 9-cycle heart wheel. How can this formation turn and stop as you wish? There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, and his right hand pointed forward at Planet 5 Elements. Then his hand drew a circle in reverse. If the heart moves, then the planet moves. Since my heart has reversed, then this planet will reverse as well. You all wanted to trap me inside the formation. Now you can all taste how wonderful this formation is. Wang Lin's right hand drew several circles in a row. When his right hand moved, Planet 5 Elements, which had stopped moving, began to rotate again. However, this time it was rotating in reverse. As it rotated in reverse, Grand Emperor Xian Luo began to laugh. He was filled with admiration toward Wang Lin. This child fits my temper. Very good, very good. At the same time, opposite of Grand Emperor Xian Luo's joy were the cultivators on Planet 5 Elements. They were looking at the sky, but the clouds suddenly scattered and the sky rapidly changed. The sky was no longer blue or bright. It was instead replaced with the void outside planet 5 elements. All the cultivators of the Guei sect saw a planet in this void. It was planet 5 elements. This feeling was very mysterious. They were clearly on planet 5 elements, but they were seeing planet 5 elements. This immediately made the hearts of everyone who saw it tremble. The old man in the golden robe also trembled. After being startled, his expression changed greatly. Not good. In an instant, the planet 5 elements in their vision began to rotate. As the rumbling echoed, the planet rotated even faster. The heart moves, so the planet moves. The sudden scene caused a disturbance in their hearts, and thus they became trapped in the 9-cycle heart wheel. In their eyes, the planet's rotation had already turned into a vortex, and this was only the 8th breath of the first cycle. One by one, the cultivators coughed out blood and continued to retreat. They were terrified and screams of panic echoed. The second cycle suddenly arrived. Naduo coughed out blood and immediately closed his eyes. However, the pain and dizziness made it impossible to calm down, so he could only resist. But the more he resisted, the faster the planet rotated in his mind. The fear from back then filled his mind again. This caused Naduo to go crazy from fear. There was also the old man in the golden robe. His face was deathly pale. His right hand immediately pointed to the spot between his eyebrows, trying to force himself to calm down. However, the screams and calls for help disturbed him again and again, making it hard for him to calm down quickly. In his view, Planet 5 Element's rotation had turned into a vortex, and the feeling of vertigo made him feel irritated and crazy. His mental energy was being rapidly consumed and he was losing control. At this moment, the formation reached the 4th cycle. The moment it entered the 4th cycle, all the cultivators besides Naduo and the old man in the golden robe passed out. Although they had passed out, the pain on their faces was still there and was getting stronger. Their mental energy was being rapidly drained and their bodies rapidly withered. Aside from their mental energy, their life force was also being exhausted. Naduo was suffering as well. He barely lasted for a moment into the 4th cycle before passing out. Only the old man in the golden robe was still struggling. The veins on his face were swollen and there was madness in his eyes as he let out a roar. In his eyes he saw the reflection of Planet 5 Elements. It was rotating so fast that it was only a vortex, and it was impossible to tell that it was actually a planet. Time passed. The 5th and 6th cycles passed. Just as the 7th cycle came, the old man in the golden robe coughed out blood and his face showed signs of withering. Just at this moment, 3 roars came from the 7th, 6th, and 5th floors of the tower. At the same time, 3 old figures flew out from the tower and used some unknown spell. The 3 of them waved their sleeve at the stars. A thunderous rumble spread across the world and turned into endless echoes that continued to rumble. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the sky collapsed and the rotating Planet 5 Elements collapsed. Everything in the sky was torn apart by force. Wang Lin's white figure appeared in the sky of Planet 5 Elements when the formation was torn apart. The sky distorted as the illusory Planet 5 Elements collapsed. The sky seemed to shatter into fragments that scattered in all directions. If not for the 3 of them, the reverse of the 9-cycle heart wheel formation would have killed everyone here. It was not Wang Lin being cruel, but he had just experienced the same thing himself. Wang Lin appeared in the distorted sky and calmly looked at the planet. He saw the hundreds of unconscious cultivators, Nado, the old man with a broken right arm, and 3 gloomy middle-aged men staring at him. Although the 3 men looked middle-aged, their ancient auras showed that they had lived for far too long. Their strange clothes showed that they weren't cultivators from the cave world, but from the immortal astral continent. After Wang Lin's gaze swept by, he remained calm and waved his sleeve. He clasped his hands. "I'm the cave world's Wang Lin. I came to see you fellow cultivators from the immortal astral continent and came to greet you all as the landlord. Have you all been living well over these countless years?" Wang Lin's words caused the expression of the old man in the golden robe to change greatly. His mind was already injured by the formation, and this shock caused blood to flow out from the corner of his mouth. The expressions of the 3 people that came out didn't change, but their pupils shrank. Their gazes toward Wang Lin became even colder. After Wang Lin spoke, he stepped forward and his right hand formed a fist. His ancient god, ancient demon and ancient devil stars appeared at the same time, and a huge ancient Dao shadow appeared behind him. The shadow pierced the heavens and completely occupied the sky. It was holding its right hand in a fist, its actions perfectly mimicking Wang Lin's. Ancient Dao clan. The expression of one of the middle-aged men changed, and the three of them charged at Wang Lin. One of them changed into a giant 9-colored dragon that swept across the sky. Another person was covered in black gas that turned into a giant ghost. The ghost was fierce and rushed forward. The last person was covered in the 5 elements. Metal, wood, water, 5 and earth surrounded him, and illusions of the 5 elements shined around him. They condensed around his body, and the world changed colors as he closed in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's right hand formed a fist and he walked toward the tower. He was about to punch it, but the 3 people closing in stopped him. Wang Lin's expression remained the same, and he wasn't alarmed at all. Since he dared to come here, he had naturally come prepared. Although these 3 weren't weak, Wang Lin didn't care. The moment the 3 of them closed in, Wang Lin waved his left hand. The ancient Dao shadow behind him also waved its left hand. Its huge body twisted and shrouded Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the spells from those 3 arrived and collided with the ancient Dao shadow protecting Wang Lin. The shadow trembled and was unable to withstand the powerful blows. After several breaths, it suddenly collapsed. The collapse of the ancient Dao shadow created a powerful shockwave that exploded outward. The earth trembled and the 3 middle-aged men were pushed back several thousand feet before they were able to stop. The ancient Dao shadow had exploded, but Wang Lin wasn't injured at all. All of this was within Wang Lin's plan. The moment the shadow collapsed, Wang Lin stepped forward and appeared on top of the tower. His hand formed a fist and smashed toward the tower. The reason Wang Lin had come to Planet 5 Elements was for this punch. His goal was to force out all the hidden forces in Planet 5 Elements. He wanted to see how strong this second hidden force beside the All-Seer was. He wanted to see how sharp this nail was and how deep it was. Only when he fully understood all of this could he set his plan to find the third soul. He was going to force them out from the shadows. The world seemed to dim as the explosion of the ancient Dao shadow was very large. The powerful shockwave spread out with Wang Lin as the center, preventing everyone here from moving forward. That impact was like a roar that swept away all obstacles before Wang Lin. This allowed his punch to smash down at the tower. The expressions of the 3 middle-aged men changed. They wanted to charge forward to stop Wang Lin. However, they were stopped by the explosion of the ancient Dao shadow. All of this was part of Wang Lin's plan. His fist rumbled. This punch was filled with his determination and his full cultivation. He was getting closer and closer to the tower. However, just at this moment, a powerful aura came from the 4th floor of this tower. As this aura spread out, a young man wearing black walked out of the 4th floor. This youth looked ordinary, but his eyes revealed a strange light. He was the youth who had walked out of the spatial rift during Wang Lin's divine retribution. This youth was in the summoned river looking for something, but many years ago, he had come back, helpless, and had been in closed-door cultivation in the 4th floor. He was forced out by Wang Lin at this moment. He knew Wang Lin, and Wang Lin had met him. "It's you." The moment the young man appeared, Wang Lin saw him. Wang Lin had only seen this youth once. The youth had been holding an ancient mirror inside the ancient celestial realm, above an ancient god statue. He seemed to be looking for something. The youth didn't speak but stepped toward Wang Lin. As Wang Lin's punch descended, the youth pointed forward. The moment he sent out a seal, 6 giant illusory black flowers appeared. The 6 flowers were in full bloom, and as the youth pointed, the flowers shined brightly. An arm came out of each flower, and all 6 arms with pearl-white skin pointed toward Wang Lin's fist. The 2 sides collided in an instant. Wang Lin's punch trembled and he clearly felt a destructive force enter his body from the 6 arms. This caused Wang Lin to retreat a few steps. The youth suffered as well. His face turned pale and popping sounds came from his body. The 6 flowers behind him collapsed, evenly matched. As Wang Lin retreated, 6 black flowers appeared on his arm as if they were imprinted on his skin. His arm began to rot, and a sickly fluid flowed out. Intense pain entered Wang Lin's mind and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. An illusory star appeared between the eyebrows of the youth. A star also appeared in his right and left eye. This was the result of Wang Lin's ancient Tao cultivation combining with his cultivator cultivation. After the stars appeared, they turned into the ancient god, ancient demon and ancient devil. They existed in the youth's mind and attacked his origin soul. The youth's expression had been calm from the beginning, and he remained calm. With just this calmness, Wang Lin considered this person to be very strong. Wang Lin didn't know that this youth was named Yunifeng was very famous in the Guei sect back on the immortal astral continent. He was ranked third among the core disciples. He had followed his uncle into the cave world, and after countless years, he had honed himself in the cave world and obtained great fortunes. Once he returned to the immortal astral continent, he would be like the proud son of the heavens and could fight for the position of first among the core disciples. With his identity as the first disciple of the Guei sect, his name would spread far among the 9 sects and 13 factions. The two didn't speak at all. Wang Lin waved his right hand and 3 of the 6 black flowers immediately dissipated. The remaining 3 flowers collapsed to the recovery of this immortal ancient body. His right arm recovered completely. As for the youth, he had his own methods. His hands formed a seal and then he pointed to his body several times. Then he took out a seed-like pill and swallowed it. The pill suddenly erupted with a strange force in his body and killed the ancient clan shadows inside him. However, his recovery was a few breaths slower than Wang Lin's because he had to swallow a pill. These few breaths of time were enough for Wang Lin to do everything he wanted to do. He didn't attack the youth but formed a fist and punched the tower while the youth was recovering. This time the youth could not stop it. With one punch the world rumbled. The tower trembled and seemed to have absorbed Wang Lin's punch. It began to collapse from the bottom. Large amounts of dust rose into the air, and the bottom of the tower shattered until the 4th floor. The tower suddenly exploded, but the top 3 floors remained unmoving and unchanged. They floated there and gave off a brilliant light. These 3 floors seemed to be independent from the rest of the tower. It was as if the original people from the Guei sect had only brought these 3 floors and their descendants had built the floors below them afterwards. The moment the bottom part of the tower collapsed, an old but powerful voice came from the 3rd floor. This voice was like thunder, but it was beyond any thunder. The world changed colors and a voice descended like law. Ancient Dao Barbarian Jr., your Dao clan is the weakest among the 3 ancient clans. All of you are mere barbarians. Even if your family head came before our Guei sect, you're all just mere barbarians. The voice was filled with arrogance as he descended on Wang Lin. Before Wang Lin could feel any emotions, outside the planet, Xian Luo's expression became dim. No one had dared to insult his clan like this before. The old man from the 3rd floor was the first one. However, if this arrogant old man found out that Xian Luo had heard this, what kind of expression would he make? Would he be scared out of his wits? The words of the old man from the 3rd floor echoed across the world. They entered Wang Lin's ears and were also heard by the Guei sect's Yunifeng. Yunifeng frowned. He usually looked very casual, but that was only on the surface. His pride came deep from his roots, and it was because of this pride that he didn't bother to humiliate people with words as well. He found things like this to be beneath him. Yunifeng frowned as he looked at Wang Lin and let out a yawn. He retreated to the side and ignored what was happening. As the words came out from the 3rd floor, there was a flash of green along with yellow. As the 2 colors spread, a proud-looking whited-haired old man walked out of the 3rd floor. This old man's body was surrounded by the power of wood and earth. As he walked out, one could see the shadow of a towering tree and a sandstorm behind him. The pressure of a mid-stage arcane void cultivation spread out from the old man. After he walked out, he waved his right hand at the tower and a light screen appeared around the tower to protect it. It was extremely strong, and it would be difficult to break it quickly. Breaking into Planet 5 elements and reversing the heart wheel. You've got guts, kid. Since you came today, don't leave. I'll let you know there are some places your ancient Dao clan can't enter. The old man looked at Wang Lin with a cold gaze. I'll capture you and then let your senior come to accept your sin. He didn't know Wang Lin was someone from the cave world. After seeing Wang Lin's ancient Dao power, he assumed Wang Lin also came from the immortal astral continent like them. He didn't think Wang Lin had come alone, and there were likely other people from the ancient Dao clan as well. It was likely they weren't here for the treasure but to find Emo. The old man had thought of all this himself, and he believed what he thought was at least 80% correct. After speaking, he charged forward and waved his right hand. Popping sounds came from the shadow of the giant tree. The tree twisted and shrank until it became a mass of green light in the old man's hand. In the blink of an eye, the green light turned into a green whip. This whip was filled with the wood force and vitality. In the hands of the old man, he waved it and popping sounds echoed. It looked like a green python as it lashed toward Wang Lin. The world changed colors. It was as if everything had to collapse before the whip. The treasure the Gui sect was famous for was their whips. Their whips were very famous on the immortal astral continent, and they all had different production methods. Wang Lin couldn't clearly see the appearance of the green whip. He could only see the green light. This green light that was closing in on him was filled with wood element. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. There was still no movement from the remaining 2 floors. The old man from the 3rd floor already had shocking cultivation. He didn't know how powerful the 2 in the remaining 2 floors were. Wang Lin retreated several steps. As the green whip closed in, a flash of coldness appeared in his eyes and he pushed forward with his palm. The moment his palm pushed forward, his fingers clustered to form a fist, and he pulled back. Karma print. With this pull, a green light was extracted from the whip and sent into Wang Lin's grasp. He mercilessly squeezed and the green light collapsed. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the whip paused for a moment. Just at this moment, the grass on the planet rapidly withered and turned into wood force that gathered inside the whip. In just a moment, the essence that was extracted by Wang Lin's karma print had been restored. The whip lashed by and landed on Wang Lin's body. There was a thunderous bang and Wang Lin's body trembled violently. The whip didn't touch his body but stopped 7 feet away. The ripples created by the whip caused Wang Lin to feel a powerful force hit his body. Wang Lin retreated several steps and suppressed the blood in his throat. The old man laughed arrogantly and lashed out once more. This time his target was Wang Lin's head. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he began to deduce. He hadn't come here to kill. His purpose for being here was to see how deep the nail was and how strong these foreign cultivators were. Wang Lin was not surprised by the old man's cultivation level, but being entangled by this old man meant that he couldn't force out the last 2 people hiding in the last 2 floors. Whip, I have one as well. In a moment Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His mind was as cunning as the devil's, so he was able to find the best method to get the answers he wanted. Wang Lin's right hand reached toward the void and his soul lasher appeared. The whip lashed around and cracking sounds echoed. The golden light from the soul lasher seemed to be competing with the green light. The moment the old man saw the soul lasher, he was shocked, but he soon remembered something and his expression became gloomy. All of this happened in a flash. Wang Lin held the soul lasher and walked forward. He suddenly waved his arm and the soul lasher collided with the green whip. From afar the 2 whips looked like 2 giant pythons. When they collided, they created a thunderous rumble. Whips were soft and the moment they touched, they twisted together as if they were connected, making it very difficult to separate them. The golden light and the green light mixed together as the thunderous rumble echoed. Wang Lin held the soul lasher in his right hand, and the old man held onto the green whip. The 2 whips were like 2 sticks in their hands. At this moment both of them pulled at the same time. The veins on the old man's face swelled as all his cultivation went into his right hand and erupted when he pulled the whip. However, he was only a cultivator. Wang Lin had the ancient Dao bloodline, and there was nothing in the world with a stronger body than the ancient ones. Not only did Wang Lin have the ancient Dao bloodline, but his avatar also had 7 essences. His essences also erupted and entered his right arm, fusing with his ancient Dao power. Along with the fact that Wang Lin's right hand belonged to Yemo, the power of the fusion reached a terrifying degree. Although the old man was at the mid-stage of arcane void, comparing his strength with Wang Lin's was simply ridiculous. With one pull, the world rumbled and the 2 whips let out sounds that made it seem like they couldn't bear it anymore. In an instant, the whip was pulled out of the old man's hand, leaving a blood mark on his hand. With a bang, the 2 whips were pulled toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he charged at the old man. The old man's expression was extremely gloomy, and his hands formed seals as he rapidly retreated. The green whip that was pulled by Wang Lin immediately collapsed into green light that flew back toward the old man. At the same time, the sandstorm behind the old man moved forward and surrounded him. Cracking sounds echoed and the green light entered the sandstorm. The sandstorm rapidly shrank and formed an armor that contained wood and earth elements. The armor was earth yellow and contained flower-like patterns of green. Looking from a distance, the green drew a giant tree. When the armor appeared, the old man's cultivation suddenly erupted from mid-stage arcane void to peak of late-stage arcane void. He was only one step away from peak arcane void. This was the armor of the Gui sect. However, the more powerful the armor, the more difficult it was to control it, and it would cause great harm to the user. The old man's face was distorted in pain, and it looked like tree branches were drilling into his body. He looked up with a fierce expression and let out a painful howl before rushing forward. The moment he charged out, the earth moved like a wave. Giant hills appeared and moved with him. Also at this moment, all the grass on the planet withered and turned into strands of green that gathered before the old man. It changed into a large amount of towering trees that moved. These trees, looking like a dense jungle, quickly formed a giant treeman. This treeman was over tens of thousands of feet tall and wrapped around the old man. It closed in on Wang Lin and its right hand smashed down on him. Die for this old man. Buzzing sounds echoed and the punch of that giant tree appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. The earth formed a vortex below Wang Lin and a sandstorm surrounded him. The countless grains of sand rotated trying to tear Wang Lin's body apart. Inside the sandstorm, Wang Lin was calm. All of this was within his expectations. As the sandstorm surrounded him and the punch from the tree closed in, Wang Lin closed his eyes as he curled up. The immortal ancient spell shrouded his body. Outside Planet 5 Elements, Grand Emperor Xian Luo looked at what was happening on the planet. He had begun Wang Lin's test a long time ago, and right now he was very satisfied. High eyes revealed a strange light. This is a spell similar to the immortal celestial body. What's he going to do? It was blurry inside the sandstorm as Wang Lin's body curled up and the fist from the treeman arrived. The fist didn't contain a strong force but carried a spell with the old man's full cultivation using the armor. This wasn't a punch of strength but a punch of spell. The moment the punch fell, the sandstorm rapidly shrank toward Wang Lin as if it was going to tear him apart. Thunderous rumbles echoed at this instant and spread across the entire planet. They even spread outside the planet and echoed across the void. Wang Lin's body was hit by the wood and earth element force. The immortal ancient spell erupted, causing Wang Lin to continue to recover so he didn't die. The moment the two essences arrived, Wang Lin borrowed the force and strung out like an arrow. He pierced through the sandstorm and shot off into the distance. His speed was far too fast. On top of his own ancient Tao and cultivation, he had also utilized the old man's attack at full power. If not for his immortal ancient spell, even with his current ancient Tao body, he would have died. However, with the immortal ancient spell protecting him, as long as it wasn't for too long, his body wouldn't be destroyed. Borrowing the other party's power, his speed had exceeded that of an arcane void cultivator and reached the speed of someone who had passed several arcane tribulants. Planet 5 Elements seemed like it was going to collapse, and the only thing that could be seen was the ray of light Wang Lin formed. It looked like he was going to charge out from the cave world. This ray of light charged at the tower protected by the light barrier and smashed into it. Wang Lin had used himself as the strongest treasure to break the tower's protection. The light around the tower cracked and became distorted. However, because it could collapse completely, the part Wang Lin had collided with broke and he rushed inside. It wasn't until he charged in that the barrier collapsed into fragments. Wang Lin's body broke through the barrier and didn't stop at all. With the powerful force from the attack, and his immortal ancient spell, he collided with the tower. The tower trembled and a giant hole appeared due to Wang Lin's collision. The fragments from the gap rapidly dissipated before Wang Lin. Just as Wang Lin broke into the second floor, he immediately saw an old man filled with the power of the 5 elements inside. Although the old man looked old, his hair was black. He was sitting there as if he was cultivating a spell, but he was shocked by Wang Lin's sudden appearance and opened his eyes. The moment Wang Lin saw this man, his heart rumbled. If this old man was a bit younger, he would look exactly like Na Duo. The old man's eyes also contained the 9-cycle heart wheel. Scram out of here. A shocking roar came from the second floor. It was filled with anger and spread across the planet. The old man from the second floor trembled and his eyes were filled with awe and fear. Even Yunifeng's lazy expression disappeared and was replaced with reverence. Everyone who was awake trembled. They were obviously afraid of the owner of this voice. When this voice entered Wang Lin's body, his immortal ancient body showed signs of collapsing. His mind rumbled and he coughed out blood, retreating like crazy. It seemed like he was going to be forced out of the second floor by this roar. The gap between their cultivation levels was too big. However, Wang Lin was not willing to be pushed out like this. He still hadn't seen the person in the first floor yet. At this moment, his eyes were filled with decisiveness and viciousness. Wang Lin was not only vicious to others but also to himself. As he was being pushed back, he waved his right hand and the blood sword appeared. Enduring the injuries in his body, he threw the blood sword forward just as he was about to be pushed out of the tower. With this wave, the blood sword flew out toward the first floor. At the same time, Wang Lin coughed out blood as he raised his left hand and pointed at the second floor. What great guts! The old man in the second floor stood up, and his gaze was cold. He raised his right hand to reach for the blood sword. However, just at this moment, Wang Lin's left hand, which he had pointed ahead of time, erupted with his spell. Stop! Wang Lin was risking everything. He knew that with his immortal body, he wouldn't die even if he got seriously injured. Since he wouldn't die, he would risk it. Even if he was seriously injured, he had methods of leaving this place. Under the effect of the stop spell, the old man's right hand paused. It was only for a moment before the spell ended. Wang Lin was hit by the rebound and popping sounds came from his body. A large amount of blood mist sprayed out from his pores, but in his eyes it was worth it. The old man's pause allowed the blood sword to break into the first floor, creating a 3-inch opening before flashing out from the other side of the tower. Wang Lin retreated as he stared at the 3-inch gap, and his eyes were filled with shock. He saw that inside the first floor, there was no cultivator, only a set of black armor. The black on the armor was like the night and could devour all light. Wang Lin rapidly retreated and coughed out blood. The blood sword was about to return when a white hand caught it. It was the old man from the second floor. He had walked out and grabbed the blood sword. No matter how much the blood sword struggled, it couldn't break free. Outside the tower, the old man in the wood and earth armor had an extremely respectful expression as he clasped his hand and spoke,